Inside the 3rd Street Market Hall in downtown Milwaukee. This award show will honor the unsung heroes who show up, give back, and make a positive impact in our community every single day. We are rolling out the red carpet and showing love to those who truly deserve it. Buy your tickets now by visiting 1017thetruthAwards.com. Tickets are just $20, which includes free food and exclusive Truth giveaways. Join the 1017 The Truth team for an unforgettable night of entertainment, inspiration, and community pride at the 2nd Annual Truth Community Awards on Friday, February 20th at Venue 3 in Milwaukee. The Truth Community Awards are presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Gruber Law Offices, Steinhoffels, Milwaukee College Prep, Cousin Subs, Venue 3 at the 3rd Street Market Hall, and the Milwaukee Bucks Foundation. All of your favorite 1017 The Truth content whenever you want. The Truth app has it all. The Truth is on 1017 and 1510 WGKB Waukesha, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
He steps to the mic with a boom, ping, ping. Wisdom sharper than a beast's fierce sting. Words like fireflies that light the night. He turns the dark into blazing bright. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, oh, the airwaves king. Shake the ground, unveils the truth where lies abound. Politics, justice, social streams. He molds the chaos into dreams. No silence here, just the sound of change. Boom, ping, ping, rearrange. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, or the airwaves king. Through the static, through the noise, he amplifies the people's voice. Boom, ping, ping. Like a heartbeat's call, he's got the wisdom to break down walls. Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Today is Thursday, February 12th, 2026. I personally believe that if you apply for a job and you have the skills and the expertise and the knowledge for that job, and then you have to have an interview because on paper you can look perfectly tailored for an occupation, but then in person, it may not all line up. Because, companies and businesses, they have, values and they have a culture. Even though you may look really good on paper, your personality, and I think sometimes it might be a little unfair because people can be uncomfortable and interviews can be very awkward and they can be really nerve-wracking, especially if it's a job that the interviewee really, really wants. Sometimes their words may not articulate perfectly, and the potential employer, as you could imagine, is judging every single word being uttered and even the body language of this person. So you have to have the skills, the knowledge, the expertise. It is a reason why I stress education so much. Some people feel that they are just entitled to a job because they need one, because they need money, because they owe Barada a lot of back rent. They think they just need this job. Job is not a right. A job is an incredible kind of unique privilege that someone extends to you based upon the skill set that you have. A job is somebody buying your experience from you for a set amount of money and certain benefits and vacation time and sick time and health insurance. You have to have a skill that you sell to an employer. That is what a job really consists of. So if you have all of those things and you have to go through the interview process, you know, there's a whole bunch of different things on the YouTube where you can learn how to interview. You got to practice in the mirror. Don't know if that actually helps, but they say you should practice in the mirror. And I can go through all of the details of what makes a good interview. And you got to ask questions now, because the potential employer is going to ask you if you have questions of them. And sometimes you say, nope, no questions. I don't have any. They don't like that. They don't like it. So always have a list of questions, because it looks like you've done your research, you've done your homework, and you are generally inquisitive about the position. And I think that you should have some questions, because don't you want to know why the previous person got fired? Don't you want to know what a typical work day is going to be like? Don't you want to know what is expected of you? I could go on forever when it comes to these things. But when it's all said and done, I think that people that are qualified for jobs that pass whatever the interviews are, and sometimes there's a bunch of interviews. I had to interview to get employed here. It was a lot of people. And I was kind of annoyed. I was like, just go listen to my stuff. If you don't know who I am, go listen to what Sherwin Hughes, his body of work over the years. But I had to interview with, I think I interviewed with like 6 people. Cherie, Kyle, Steve Wexler, Evan Cohen, some biracial dude from Ohio. Don't ask me why. I guess maybe he had to gauge my blackness. And then my final interview was with the namesake of this company, Craig Karmazin. And after the 3rd or 4th interview, you just kind of start rolling your eyes, because you know that the previous person you interviewed with is going to tell the next person what you were all about and their thoughts and their assessments of you. So it was a lot. In fact, I didn't even know if I was going to get hired here. And I was the last one they hired, FYI. So let me not digress too much. I thought that I was qualified to host a radio show. Apparently Good Karma Brands thought so. At least they thought so then. I don't know how they feel about me now. There are industries that exist and have existed for a really long time. There was a list of things I didn't get to yesterday. We had a big old conversation yesterday, didn't we? We talked about 250 things. I talked about so much stuff yesterday. I think I've drained my topics for the rest of the week, because I think I covered like 3 days worth of shows yesterday. But I have a list of the oldest corporations in the United States, and some of them go back to like the 1640s or the 1650s. Think about that for a second. Slavery was only in its first generation in this country when some of the oldest American corporations were founded. Just imagine for a moment the attitude that those companies, those LLCs, those incorporations are older than America itself. America didn't really become a thing on paper until 1776, and then they had to create the Constitution, which was between 1789 and 1791. So we have corporations that are 130 years, 140 years older than the country that they are in. Now imagine those companies and those corporations when they were founded, or even through the 1700s or the 1800s or the 1900s, their prevailing attitude about black people and black workers. Now remember, as time went on, and as these centuries went from one to another, African Americans, we advanced. We became more educated. We became more literate. We were a much more pervasive force in American culture, but the attitude about us certainly lagged behind for a very long time, and some would even say to this day, We are faulty. We are deficient in every other stereotype you could imagine. That impacts black employment. You can have the perfect individual on paper that is a cultural fit, that is a personality fit for the business, for the company that you may own and you are hiring for this position. But there are some people that say, we just don't want black people working here. We just don't want Latinos or Asians working here. We just don't want gays and lesbians working here. Now imagine the impact that can have on those communities, because each person that is not getting hired is someone who probably has a family that is unable to feed their children and take care of their financial responsibilities. I just want you to think about how that can have a pervasive long-term effect and impact. And we can measure it because there is something that is going on where I can use black people as an example because it's an easy example because I'm black. We have less assets. We have less income. We have less equity. We have less savings. One of the contributing factors has to be there are just some companies that, for whatever their reasons, don't want to hire black people. Now, as we move forward and we see the world is getting much more diverse, much to the chagrin of other racial and ethnic groups, sometimes these businesses and these companies, depending upon the products that they sell, they need to be much more in tune with the growth of diversity in the United States. And I'm going to say this, and if you get offended, that is a you problem, not a Sherwin problem. White people fall miserably short when it comes to marketing to non-white people. You can always tell when you see the ads and see the commercials for a product that, or the commercial is aimed at African Americans, but like the language is off a little bit. It's way too stereotypical. It's always a black person in the commercial whose mannerisms are over exaggerated. And you're thinking to yourself, a black person didn't write that. A black person didn't create that script. A black person didn't direct that commercial. There are some companies that realize that we need to have much more diverse people on our staff, including black people, to help us better market and understand that cohort of consumers. Because as cities and towns get blacker and browner, you want to make sure that those blacker and browner consumers are included in your advertising and in your promotion. So there's a real reason to want to diversify your staff and your marketing departments if the city and the town, or if your market, the people you are selling to, is getting more diverse. I'd imagine right now there's probably more black people that are buying and drinking Coca-Cola than in 1910. And so Coca-Cola was like, oh, we need to change our marketing strategies to be more reflective of the growth of diversity of not just black people, but Asian people and Hispanic people, biracial people, etc. So the company may say, hey, you know what? We want to diversify our ranks. And maybe that means you add another division, you add another department where you are being intentional. This is a company now, private company. They can do whatever they want to. They're being intentional in wanting to hire more diversity because they can look back and see the pictures on the wall at that company's headquarters and see a whole bunch of white guys that were the boards of directors and the CEOs and the COOs and the CIOs and I don't know, the CIA and the FBI and every other thing. And they may say this is no good because America is not nearly this white and this male. So they may have a policy. We want to be intentional in making this wall of CEOs and COOs and CIOs much more diverse to be reflective of where America is going. Well, there is a political cohort in this country that wants to make that not only illegal for a company to make a decision on who they hire, but they want to make it illegal for colleges and universities, which we know were intentional in keeping black people out and keeping Latinos out and biracial people out and keeping foreign-born people out and keeping Asian people out. I think they regret. Here's one thing I know America regrets. They regret a whole bunch of stuff about us. I know they regret freeing us because look at us now. Cultural juggernauts us blacks are. They regret. Look at white women are injecting their lips with collagen to look a little more Negro. They're tanning their bodies until they get cancer. It's the craziest thing ever. So we know that they regret freeing us, but we were going to be free regardless. They really regret letting Asians into their colleges because they got it. They're like, oh, these Asians. Do you know that Asians in America right now have the highest levels of completed education and they make the most money? They're the most income wealthy racial cohort in the United States of America. So the whites even got passed by the Asians. I think black people might need to start looking toward the Asians for economic guidance and economic success. I said all that to say this. There is a referendum question that is going to appear on your November 3rd, 2026 ballot. You know, the midterm elections, the one that Donald Trump is trying to federalize, because if he doesn't federalize it, he's going to lose real bad. Republicans are going to lose real bad. But there's a ballot question that is going to appear. And I know it's early. I know it's only February, and that election is not until November. So we have some spring elections, February primary. Well, I don't think that we have any in Milwaukee. We have an April general election. These are elections that are scheduled on the books in Wisconsin. And then we have an August, I believe, 11th primary, partisan primary. Then we have our general election, which is going to be November 3rd, 2026, and this is how they figure it. Elections are, so you never forget when the elections are. General elections are, it's weird, but hear me out. The first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. I don't know who thought of that, but that's when your elections are, so you never will miss another election. But there's going to be an exceptionally complicated ballot question on that when you go and vote in November, and it's really, really complicated. I personally think it's going to fail. I want to get out ahead of it. I want to explain it because it will change the Wisconsin Constitution forever. And it's going to ban programs that are at all related to DEI and affirmative action. And I want folks to at least know what it is. I want you to have it memorized. I want you to understand it like it's your favorite song lyric. And I'm also going to give you the implications of if that ballot referendum passes. Let's rewind to 2024 in November. I don't even remember this ballot question because maybe I've been inundated with so much information since November of 2024. There was another constitutional ballot referendum in November of 2024, you know, back when a bunch of you didn't vote for Kamala Harris. And it was to ban non-citizens from voting. All 71 of 72 counties passed that constitutional amendment, which prohibits non-citizens from voting. The only county that did not pass that referendum, which would allow non-citizens the ability to vote in at least local elections. No matter what, non-citizens can't vote in federal elections. But if you've been in this country for 22 years and you're still going through the citizenship process and you've got 7 children all born in America and they're American citizens, what Dane County was saying was like, look, you should be able to vote for school board. If you weren't born here, but your kids are going to school here and your kids are citizens, we ban that non-citizen parent from voting in school board and local elections, even though they are paying local taxes, their children are citizens, and their children are attending schools, but we don't allow those parents to vote. So Madison was the only county that said, oh no, non-citizens should be able to vote in certain limited local elections, but that referendum obviously failed. The affirmative action referendum that we're going to see this November 3rd, 2026, during our midterm contest, I think it's likely to fail too, but I just want to give you the implications of it. So I'm going to take a break. I'm going to come back. I'm going to give you the details of and read it because it's not, the language is not very simple, and that's why I'm taking the time to go through it now, and as it comes up, as we move closer toward that election, it'll be easier to answer people's questions. You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I will be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat, sponsored by Lowe's.com. Women's basketball superstar Juju Watkins bought a minority stake in the National Women's Soccer League team Boston Legacy FC. And I talked to Bloomberg U.S. sports business reporter Randall Williams about the groundbreaking deal and why it's a big deal for Watkins and for Boston Legacy FC.
She was really excited about it. I think this came pretty natural for both parties. Boston Legacy FC has done a lot of work grabbing celebrities. Caleb Williams is an investor. Aaliyah Boston of the Indiana Fever is an investor. And so this falls in line with Juju Watkins, with Boston Legacy. And so it's a big deal for her. And it's the first deal that I've seen where it's a women's college player becoming a sports owner before they're a professional, which is crazy.
It is crazy. And we're still at the very beginning of what could be a historic career for Watkins. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Time is valuable. That's why Lowe's Blueprint Takeoffs turn blueprints into quotes faster. Bring us your plans, and we'll generate itemized material lists to make quoting easier so you can get back to building. Plus, at the Lowe's Pro Desk, you get access to thousands of building materials not sold in store. And when your order's ready, we'll deliver everything to the job site. Improving is easy at Lowe's.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
Listen Fridays to Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris during Black History Month for Dr. Ken's Trivia. It's not just questions, it's culture. Facts they don't teach you and a few stories that matter. We'll test what you know and teach each other something new along the way. Lock in your Fridays in February. Be ready to call in and bring your brain with you. Dr. Ken's Trivia, Friday in February on Truth in the Afternoon with me, Dr. Ken Harris on 1017 The Truth, YouTube, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This is your Milwaukee Public Schools City Conference Basketball Weekly Update on the new 1017 The Truth.
Two big results to recap starting on the boys' side in the Gold Division. The Milwaukee Bradley Tech Trojans defended home court in a major way, blowing past the Milwaukee North Blue Devils 86-42. Senior Jakari Smith put on a scoring clinic, pouring in 43 points as Bradley Tech controlled the game from start to finish. With that win, the Trojans improved to 7-4 in conference play and keep themselves firmly in the top half of the division down the home stretch of the regular season. And now to the girls as the Milwaukee King Lady Generals locked it up Tuesday night at home versus Golden Meyer, pulling out a tough 68-60 victory. Senior Naomi Wilson led the way with 27 points, and that performance officially clinched the Gold Division title for King. The Lady Generals finished the regular season in 18-1 overall and 13-1 in conference.
This has been your Milwaukee Public Schools City Conference Basketball Weekly Update. MPS proud and MPS strong. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
And of course, if you have questions or commentary or general anger, 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. I'm going to read you the exact language as it will appear on your ballot. Before most elections, a lot of you will go to myvote.wi.gov and you will look at a sample ballot. You'll go over it. You'll maybe make your decision right there looking at your sample ballot. So when you go into your polling location and, you will go to your polling location on November 3rd. I'm not even really going to encourage people to mail their ballots in. You will either vote early at one of our satellite sites, throughout the city of Milwaukee. Don't you worry your pretty little head, because I will tell you every address of every satellite site. I will give you the times in which they're open and the times in which they're closed. Don't you worry about that now. You gonna know. You also gonna vote. Let me tell you why. Because where we are right now in this epoch of American history is because some people did vote, others did not. Some voted the right way, some voted the wrong way. I assure you, we would not be where we are if it wasn't for the results of an election. So that being said, you're going to vote on November 3rd. But please, try to only vote one time, because when I tell you they don't like when you vote more than once, they get really super angry. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that everybody casts a single ballot. Don't do two. Don't go vote and then go home and put on a hat. You ever see those disguises where it's the glasses and a fake nose and a big thick mustache? You put the glasses on, it's like a fake disguise that they use in like comedy sketches and in movies. Don't go home, put on a hat, a trench coat, and then those fake glasses with the big mustache and a big nose and say, "Hello, I was not here earlier voting. I am here voting for the first time." Don't do that, because they're going to know it's you. Then someone will yank off the glasses and snatch off your trench coat and say, "Look, they were here earlier." So here is the language that you are going to see on your ballot. And they make it complicated on purpose because people have a reading level, even adults, it's a lot lower than you think it is. When I give you guys these statistics of the number of children that are in, whenever they start doing standardized tests, there's some high school numbers that I give you, the amount of people that are reading proficient. Statistically, some of those people never become reading proficient at a high school level, and they might be in their 60s. And so when you have a ballot referendum such as this one, where you want to change voters into voting against their best interests, just write the ballot referendum at a reading proficiency level that is higher than most people. These ballot referenda questions are written at like a college undergrad level reading comprehension. You know, college undergraduate work, you gotta like do 20-page research papers. Side note on that. Hated doing research papers. Now, the kids nowadays can just chat GPT it. You cheaters. If you can't, please don't, not today, y'all. I'm not in the mood to get started on this whole generation of young people that are mad at everybody. They're mad at Generation X because they just discovered who we are, and they're mad at the boomers and can't even read and write in cursive. Shut up. Please do that. Don't tell me how I messed the world up and you can't sign your name. All right, here's the ballot referendum. Quote, prohibit governmental discrimination and preferential treatment shall Section 1 of Article 1 of the Constitution be created to prohibit governmental entities in the states from discriminating against or granting preferential treatment to any individual, group on the basis of race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin in public employment, public education, public contracting, or public administration. Do you notice they left out gender? I want to read that one more time. And this is a yes or no question. And I'm going to break down what we will see in Wisconsin, including in Milwaukee, if and when this referendum passes. Here's the tough part. I am not going to be able to do a good job of convincing white people in the state of Wisconsin, in which they are something like 78% or 80% of the population and 83% of the voters, because the white vote share in Wisconsin is even whiter than the population. Trust me, it's a math thing. But it's going to be hard for me to convince white people, who are still 8 out of 10 people in the state of Wisconsin, that people that are not white are being discriminated against, because of the 8 in 10 Wisconsinites that are white, they probably think that they're being discriminated against every single day. If they didn't get the job, if they didn't get the promotion, if they didn't get the bonus, they're going to say, well, one of these Mexicans came over here, one of these unqualified blacks got the job and got the new title and got the promotion because they're black. Sometimes it's really difficult for white people to understand. Sometimes y'all just suck. You're not good. You just didn't get the job because you're bad. It's really possible that a black or a brown person or an immigrant is better at the job than you. They just can't see it. So it's going to be extremely hard to get white people who can point to each and every single way that they have been discriminated against to vote against this referendum. It's going to be very, very difficult, and it's going to take an ultra kind of super liberal progressive white person to say, you know what? I think it's okay that businesses and government entities like colleges and universities that have documented discrimination where they did not allow black people and brown people in those institutions, some white people might say, you know, it is okay if they allow more African Americans on the campus of the University of Wisconsin-Madison, which has never been diverse, to make up for past wrongs and to give educational opportunities to young black people, because those same white folks will say, you know, black people are not getting a fair shake. Look at all the crime, look at all the poverty, but at the same time, they don't want us to have access to their colleges and their universities or even their private schools. It's amazing how they can have a deep level of sympathy for black people, but when we have a policy solution of how we can level the playing field, white folks will say no 9 times out of 10. Capitalism tends to do that. If you have a built-in advantage over someone else and your built-in advantage is going to lead you to being more successful, more profitable, and more wealthy, you're going to keep your advantage even if your advantage is not fair. It's like a cheat code. The question reads, prohibit governmental discrimination and preferential treatment. Section 1 of Article 1 of the Constitution be created to prohibit governmental entities in the state from discriminating against or granting preferential treatment to any individual or group on the basis of race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin in public employment, public education, public contracting, or public administration. It makes it seem like those entities are only hiring people that are of minority status. No, that's not the case. It's much more complicated than that. So I'm going to take a break, take a sip of coffee. Xavier is producing the show this morning. Good morning, Xavier. How are you, sir?
You know, the Epstein files are in my mind, so not too good.
There's 3 million pages that they said they're just never going to release. That's where the bad. No, there's a lot of bad stuff in this. They're eating babies and doing all sorts of things. But imagine what's in the 3 million pages that they said, no one can ever see these.
Did you see Pam Bondi yesterday?
I did. Enough of it. I couldn't. It was such an embarrassment. But I got to take a break, X. I got to take a break. And also, so I made coffee this morning. And I didn't put no Splenda. I put a little Splenda in my coffee. I can't drink black coffee. If you can drink black coffee, you're diabolical. And so I got this coffee. I need to go run out to a little coffee area in a little lobby and put some sugar in my coffee, a little Splenda, because I can't. Let me see. Let me give it a shot. Yeah, I got to take a break. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
All you have is one chance after an accident, one decision on who to call, one shot to get the help you need. Don't waste it on the one offer you get from your insurance company. Make the one call to Gruber Law Offices. It's the only one you'll need to make. Call us today. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Do you hear that? And that? And that? Those are the sounds of a healthy and vibrant community. And to this United Way volunteer, nothing sounds better. They're the sounds of children being given greater chances to succeed in school. The sounds of neighbors receiving the support needed to overcome challenges, both big and small. They're the sounds of families gaining access to quality health care and nutritious food for their tables. And they're the sounds of members of our community who've benefited from United Way's financial education programs. See, wherever there's a need in our communities, there's a United Way. People working together to respond and growing the good for everyone. United is the way. So join us by getting involved or giving back. Learn more at unitedway.org.
$70 million people in the U.S. have learning and thinking differences, like ADHD and dyslexia. Each has their own story. This is ours. At first, I thought it was just a phase. Then schoolwork became a struggle. Emotions got bigger, and my kids started falling behind. I felt alone, like I was lost in the dark trying to find answers. Then I learned about Understood.org, a nonprofit empowering parents and kids like us. It was like we had a light to show us the path ahead. Whenever new challenges came up, their guidance helped us figure out our next step. We still have tough days, but now we have direction. And I have the tools and resources I need to help my child thrive. No matter where you are on the path, Understood can help you keep moving forward. Visit understood.org/yourpath today.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Wisconsin Prohibit Government Discrimination, or Preferential Treatment Amendment is what it's called. This is just, it's so infuriating. So they are calling affirmative action programs government discrimination. So the original incarnation and the creation of affirmative action was done by executive order on March 9th, 1961, and it was signed by President John F. Kennedy. And where John F. Kennedy had purview to reduce or relax or eliminate or prohibit or make illegal discrimination was when it came to employment with the federal government, because he, at the time, John F. Kennedy, before he lost his mind in November of 1963, he thought it was really unfair that black people were paying federal income taxes, but agencies of the federal government were banning and barring African Americans from employment. So he said we need to take decisive and affirmative action to make sure that all U.S. citizens have the opportunity to participate in federal employment. And so that was a great example of how an executive order over time got strengthened with additional legislation. Local level, like our housing ordinances here, because we had housing discrimination in Milwaukee, but it was all an extension and a growth of strengthening and expanding an executive order. An executive order has the force of law until an actual law is passed. So an executive order is like a president making a decree. Like, hey, everybody gets free cupcakes by this executive order, but then Congress can come in and say, no, you got to pay $4 for the cupcakes. But until Congress passes that law saying that cupcakes are $4, the executive order can make the cupcakes free. Capiche? Okay, good. So as time went on, there was strength added to that affirmative action executive order because it was realized that it was really, really unfair to prevent qualified African Americans from getting certain jobs, especially with government. And that's the one we have to focus on. I personally give more leeway to private employers. Because I don't know, if you're a black person, do you really want to work for a company where they don't want to hire you? Because you know what's going to happen. They're going to give you extra work. They're going to require you to attend more meetings. They're probably going to do a little bit of wage theft. They're going to make your life unbearable. There's going to be lazy, sloppy, disrespectful white employees, and you're going to have to end up doing their work. It's going to be a real drag. So I'll be honest with you. If you don't want, and I probably shouldn't say this because it might be illegal, but if you don't want black customers or black employees in your establishment, I wish you would just let us know. I wouldn't even get mad. I wouldn't. I'd rather know, especially at a restaurant. But I shouldn't say we because we're not united in this. If a restaurant puts up, I don't know, a dress code or something that looks overtly racial, like they're pointing out stereotypes of a race, maybe a bar. Bars used to do this all the time. Or even, we keep bringing up the Golden Nest Cafe restaurant, where they have the sign in the door that says, if you smell like marijuana, you can't come in or you're not welcome here. And a number of black people took that personal. And I had to just step back and just shake my head have we devolved that much to where if a restaurant, because it bothers the other customers, because Golden Nest got good food. And if I go in there to eat, it's a breakfast joint. If I go in there to eat, I want to smell bacon. I want to smell the eggs. Not sure what eggs smell like, but you know what I mean. I want to smell breakfast food. I don't want to smell someone's loud marijuana on their clothes because it's disgusting and it was bothering the other customers. But for some reason, when they posted this sign in the door and they interviewed a bunch of black people for the news story, we took it as racist. I took it as smoke weed at home. Remove the clothes you smoke the weed in. Put on fresh clothes. Go to the Golden Nest Cafe, high as the giraffe's vagina, and you can enjoy your food while you get the munchies, and you're not disturbing any of the other diners because you smell like stinky, stinky weed. It's so simple, but black folks make it seem like, oh, we have the right to smell like weed wherever we go. It's just, but I don't want to offend any people. So I would rather know, and I know some of you wouldn't rather know especially a restaurant, because if they don't want you in there, if you're a diner in a restaurant, you know how vulnerable you are? Maybe because I know what people used to do, and this is only my anecdotal evidence, maybe it never happens. There was a McDonald's that was in Brown Deer on Green Bay Road. I think it's been torn down. I don't think it's there anymore. A lot of high school kids have what we call cooperation education, where your last couple hours of your senior year, you would leave high school, Brown Deer High School, early and you go to a job. Especially if you had all of your credits, you could have what they call co-op. And that McDonald's in Brown Deer hired a lot of those seniors through the cooperation education program. When it was known that a police officer was in the drive-thru, I am not going to disclose to you what they used to do to that cop's food, because apparently some of the high school kids that worked at that McDonald's that is no more didn't like the police, and they would do less than sanitary things to their burgers. Do you understand me? So I've always kept that with me. If you don't want black people in your restaurant, and sometimes we as black folks, we insist, we impose. The owner or manager of a restaurant might be caught saying something racist or saying something disparaging about black people, making it known that they don't appreciate our patronage. And what do black folks do? We line up around the corner to go there anyway to show that we good people. We ain't going to act like the other black folks is. Please let us in. If they are telling you they don't want you, that is a warning, because I know what they will do. But that's just me. So if a business or a company, private business or company, does not want to hire black people, I don't really think, now it's not fair, right? Because black people need jobs, but also know that there are businesses and companies, and I believe that these businesses and companies and corporations outnumber the ones that don't want us. There are some that see the value in the black consumer. We're a $1 trillion cohort, almost $2 trillion. What black people spend, here's what's crazy. I don't even know where we getting the damn money from, but we are like almost a $2 trillion cohort, and there's some companies, businesses, and corporations like, oh my God, we want black customers. We love y'all. Yes, we do. Oh, we want to hire black people. We realize that America's getting much more diverse, and if we have more black people on staff, it gives credibility and legitimacy to our company. It makes us much more authentic. We are closer to the people that are our new markets. And so I think the companies that want diversity are outnumbering those that don't, and those that don't, ultimately, their own demise is baked into their policy, because if you don't want more diversity on your staff and on your board, and if you cannot market to the growing diversity in this country, you're going to run out of customers, because I don't know if you know this. The whites are getting scarce. They didn't used to be. In fact, the baby boomers, who everybody hates, were the absolute largest American generation to ever exist. They also were the whitest, but they're really, really old now. And the baby boomers are now being replaced by many brown people. In fact, the majority of people in the United States right now that are under the age of 18 are not white. And so the country is going to continue moving in that direction. And if companies, businesses, corporations, and LLCs don't want to embrace that, well, you're going to go out of business, because if you're just marketing to white people, soon there'll be very few left. I mean, there's going to be some always, because, you know, they're going to sneak over here from South Africa or whatever. But the biggest market is going to be one that is diverse. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, mark your calendars for Friday, February 20th for the second annual Truth Community Awards, hosted by Homer Blow and Bailey Coleman, celebrating individuals making a real difference in our community. Tickets are on sale now. Visit 1017thetruthAwards.com to learn more. The Truth Community Awards are sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, the Milwaukee Bucks Foundation, Gruber Law Office, Steinhoffels, Cousin Subs, and 3rd Street Market Hall.
America is kept safe because the Army National Guard responds, protects, and supports our nation when it needs them most. The Army National Guard responds to disasters such as wildfires and floods. They protect us with missile defense, cybersecurity, and civilian support teams for chemical, biological, and radiological hazards. Be there for your community and your country. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Natural gas is a clean, reliable, and convenient source of energy delivered directly to you through underground pipelines. The pipeline system has an excellent safety record, but there are clues that can help you identify a potential hazard. If you smell the strong odor of rotten eggs, hear an unusual hissing sound, or see blowing dirt or debris, it could be a natural gas leak. Leave the area immediately and call We Energies at 800-261-5325.
We Energies. People you can trust. Energy you can depend on.
Dad's gonna be far side, good.
What should I do with my dress?
Do the wiggles.
The slate's coming in. What does it feel like when you're down or having a bad day?
It feels sad, like you just don't want to do anything.
All my little emotions in my head is just running crazy. I don't know what to do.
As a teacher or coach, do you ever feel overwhelmed supporting kids' mental health?
I had never experienced players being so down that they can't even participate.
You're just in tears in the huddle. I didn't know what to do.
Teachers need tons of help.
Kids Mental Health Foundation offers educational materials to help guide conversations with our students.
It's so important that we are constantly educating ourselves.
It's the same as the CPR class to me. We're trying to save a life here.
The Kids Mental Health Foundation has free tools and information developed by experts because kids' mental health starts with all of us. Scan the QR code or check out kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org to get started.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This beat is about to hurt your feelings. Good Lord. They're so underrated. I have a Jamiroquai t-shirt I'm going to start wearing every day until y'all begin to understand. And this song is like, this album is 30 years old. Reginald says via YouTube. What happens to the U.S. economy if Black America does a Montgomery for just 1 month and watch how that pans out? We'd all lose our jobs and we would go broke and somebody's house would get foreclosed on and we would never economically recover. Black people don't have the luxury to not work for a month. You think anybody's going to beg us to come back to work? I know it sounds like, oh yeah, that would be great. Ain't no way. We have tried to do, don't buy gas on this day. Don't spend money on this day. Don't shop on Amazon for 24 hours. Never works out. This is not the 1960s because right now, Black people have so much opportunity. Now, it's not the same as everybody else, but back then, we couldn't drink out of this water fountain. We couldn't use this bathroom. We couldn't vote. So when we had less, the sacrifices that we would be willing to make to obtain rights were greater. Ain't nobody staying home from work for a month. The only people, Reggie, you're going to get to stay home from work for a month are people that are already unemployed. They'll gladly stay home. That's where they'd rather be. Let's talk to someone who also is at home. Alan, you're on 101.7 The Truth.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing great, Alan. I have here in my notes that you want to talk about a dress code.
Yeah, the dress, I agree with you about that to a certain extent. Now, there are places, though, where you do have to dress a certain way, right?
Yes.
I mean, you go to certain clubs, you got a man has to wear a suit coat. They're slipping. They're slipping. There's not so many. But there are places like that yet. Now, as for the weed,
not many.
I personally don't.
Those are probably private organizations. There's not a lot of places. A nightclub that requires somebody to wear a suit coat, they wouldn't get a lot of customers.
At the Palmer House, you used to have to wear one. I know that.
Okay, nobody goes there. I don't even know what that is. But I was using the example that you can take how people dress culturally, and if you want to keep that culture of people out, you list what they would wear and prohibit those things. We know the dress codes have been used to keep African Americans out because it's technically illegal to say whites only. So what you do is you put up a dress code that is familiar to African Americans.
Oh, yeah. The other thing they do, too, you can tell right when we walk in, say we're going somewhere for the first time. When we walk in, you can tell right away whether the people want you there or not. But the thing is, I have a reputation for being rather heavy-handed with my tipping. So if somebody's nice to my wife, I'll flip my $100. The thing is, if somebody's not, you can tell that they're just disappointed because they've heard about us maybe, or somebody might have said, hey, he gives good tips. I'll give him $5 just so I don't want them thinking I forgot about it. But that's how you repay people. Money doesn't talk, it screams. Remember Bob Dylan said that?
No, I don't remember when Bob Dylan said that. So, Alan, because someone is nice to your wife, you'll give them $100. You are bribing somebody. People are supposed to treat your wife with fairness and dignity and respect without you having to bribe those people. Like, I see why you do it, but don't you think it's
somebody by giving them? No, I don't. How are you bribing somebody if they give you good service?
You said if they're nice to you, not if they give you good service, not if they're nice to you. If they're nice to your wife, and a lot of folks may not know this, you have an African-American wife, and you have a front row seat to white people's racism because you see how your wife gets treated, right? So if somebody is being nice, I've been a black person a lot longer than you have, than you've been married to one, right?
I'll give you that.
Okay, thank you, Alan. But you giving somebody $100, Alan, stop talking for a second. You giving somebody $100 for being nice to your wife, I find that offensive. Because you shouldn't have to do that. Because you're paying a premium because someone is treating your wife like a human being?
That's not even a premium. A $100 tip is a $100 tip. It's not.
Alan, I'm basing this off of what you said. If you said that you tip $100 when you go out to eat, and that's commonplace for you, fair enough. But you said if someone is nice to your wife. Okay, all right.
No, okay.
Thanks, Alan. Y'all know what I was trying to get across, right? He just wouldn't stop talking. He said, if someone is nice to his... Now the more I think about it, the more offended I'm getting. Oh, my God. Someone was nice to my wife. This is crazy because Alan is a Caucasian feller. Very staunch, even to this day. Heavy Donald Trump supporter. Doesn't care about the Epstein files. Agrees with how ICE is breaking in people's houses and taking babies away from families. So Alan is all of those things, but has a black wife and sees and has the nerve to get offended when people that are like him, that have the same politics as him, treat his wife like the N-word. And the fact that he admitted that he'll give some, ain't nobody tipping no $100 regularly. He said it. It wasn't me putting words in the man's mouth. He said, if they're nice to my wife, I give them $100. That goes to show that clearly racism exists, where it's so rare and shocking he has to reward a person for being nice to his wife with a $100 tip. Isn't the expectation? Now, maybe I'm wrong now. If I'm wrong, you all will tell me, because you love to tell Sherwin when he's wrong. The expectation is if somebody comes into your establishment, you treat everybody fairly, with humanity and dignity and respect, because they are choosing to enter your establishment and spend their money there with you. Doesn't everybody deserve fair treatment? And if you get fair treatment, you shouldn't have to reward somebody with additional money. Now, there's a different way that we can go about this. There are some places that I frequent quite often, and I want to get the best seat. I want to get a table when the place is booked up, and I'm going to tip heavy because I like that establishment. I'm not tipping them heavy because, they sure did treat me nice. I really ain't used to this now. I have to give them all my extra wooden nickels because I sure do love being treated with dignity and respect. No, when I walk in the door, you treat me with dignity and respect. And if I like your establishment and you go above and beyond with the overall service experience, no matter who I'm with, I want to continue to frequent your establishment, and I want the benefits of getting the table by the window. Mr. Hughes, technically we're all booked up, but we've got a table for you. My tipping a premium will not begin with, they treated me nicely because I'm black. You're supposed to treat me nicely because I'm black. Because if you don't treat me nicely, I got a radio show, and everybody will know your name like you're walking in the Cheers. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Lloyd Barbie wasn't just a civil rights leader in Milwaukee. He was the man who forced the city to change its laws. In the 1960s, when segregation shaped housing, schools, and political power, Barbie didn't stop at protest. He went to court, and he won. His landmark lawsuit against Milwaukee public schools proved that segregation wasn't accidental, but deliberate, making Milwaukee one of the first northern cities legally challenged over school segregation. That victory exposed how inequality thrived, not just through prejudice, but through policy and planning. Later, as an alderman, Barbie helped pass Wisconsin's first fair housing ordinance, opening doors that had been legally closed for generations, and setting a model other cities would later follow. Barbie believed civil rights weren't symbolic. They were enforceable. Lloyd Barbie showed that real justice comes from persistence, strategy, and the courage to make institutions answer.
This Black History Moment is sponsored by Educators Credit Union and Tayback Law.
I take care of the kids. And I take care of my dad. I take care of things at work. The groceries, the cleanups, the meltdowns, the doctor's visits, the family events, mealtimes, bedtimes. I take care of all the things everyone else needs. But I haven't made time to take care of what I need.
Family caregivers are often overloaded. It can feel overwhelming and exhausting. It's no surprise that millions of caregivers experience symptoms of anxiety and depression every year. But help is available, because there may only be one you, but you don't have to do it alone. Head to mentalhealthcareworks.org. That's mentalhealthcareworks.org to learn how to get the support you deserve, because mental health care works when you make the call. If you're experiencing a mental health crisis or thoughts of suicide, dial 988, a message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
There are many times I thought, I can't do this. I mean, what parent isn't worried about? What am I not doing right? What am I not doing enough? And then I realized, wait, that's being a parent.
Don't worry about being perfect. I've had around 3 other mother figures in my life, but only one of them has taught me how a mother loves.
The greatest reward for me is he makes me better every day.
I would tell a family considering adopting a teenager that teenager, whoever it is, needs you, and they need what you have to offer.
Taylor's giving me hope. He's our son, and that is what he will always be.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Listen to the home of the 5K Gruber Cash Giveaway. 101.7 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. If you haven't done so already, go to youtube.com or open up your YouTube app from your smartphone or other mobile device. Search 1017 The Truth. Of course, hit subscribe, and you'll be able to view the show live, participate in our chat, and vote in our poll. You know, we ask you a question every single day because I have an inquisitive temperament, and I want to know some things from the people that happen to view this program, and we'll ask you a question every day. And the question today is relating to the topic of the ballot referendum that we're going to see on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November of 2026. That's our general election date for the midterm. That's going to be November 3rd. Please mark your calendar because you will vote. You will. Now, there's a new rule. Okay? If you're a Republican, you vote on Wednesday. Will says, via YouTube, Will says a couple of things. He responded to Reginald's comment that, black people need to not go to work for 30 days. Will said, yeah, we won't be able to collect unemployment if we do that. If we do something with to use like our jobs and our livelihoods as a form of protest, you may be standing on righteousness, but you also have to be prepared to be unemployed and for no one to hire you. Because think about this. If you lost your last job because I'm going to participate in this No Blacks at Work Day, and you lose your job and you expect to lose your job, what do you think is going to happen when you apply to another job? They may know because you're going to post it all over social media. Yeah, I participated in not going to work for a month. Yeah. You think any other employer is going to hire you because they may expect you to do the exact same thing to them? Why would they waste their time hiring you? If you are known to use your employment, which is scarce, jobs ain't falling from trees, by the way. And if you want to use your employment as a form of protest, you absolutely can do that. In fact, hell, I'll support you in your right to be able to use your job as a form of protest. But then when you can't find another job, you ain't going to live with me. I don't know, Xavier might let you live with him. You ain't sleeping on my damn couch. No. My couch is for me. Or I sometimes lay scantily clad. Ain't got no room for you on my couch. Will says they must be eating a lot of food if he was tipping $100, or in other words, what was he saying wasn't making any sense. Will, Allen didn't base his tip off of a percentage of the bill. He was paying his wife's black tax. Huge difference, because he would have said, on a $50 meal, I pay 200%. He didn't say that. He said if they're nice to his wife, he will give them $100. That could be in addition to maybe the 18% or the 20% gratuity that, be careful now, because a lot of restaurants add that in. They've been playing you, boy. I've been tipping restaurants more than I thought I was for a long time because I was wondering places I don't really go to all that often. Like, oh, my God, Mr. Hughes, you're back. Oh, it's so good to see you. Mr. Hughes, I got a table for you. Oh, Mr. Hughes, we know your favorite drink. It's already waiting for you. I said, what? If you don't read that receipt sometimes, because so many people don't tip, and it used to be tables of like 6 or 10 or 12 people where they would automatically add the gratuity. There are some places you can go to and eat by yourself, and they're going to add an 18% or 20% gratuity. And you don't even, like, you see the bill cost, and you're like, oh, wow, it was expensive to eat here. Like, all right, well, let me tip anyway because I want to be reasonable. And if the service was good, or even though you're supposed to tip anyway, like the whole experience of going out to eat shouldn't just be based on the service you get from the server. If you have a bad server, or if they're, less than professional or insubordinate or whatever, you take that up with the manager. But when you tip, that goes to the people that washed your dishes, that prepared the food. It's like the whole experience of going out to eat is why you're tipping. We have to move away from the interaction you have with a server. Obviously plays a big role in it, but if you have a problem with the server, that's what managers are for. Literally what restaurant managers are for. But if you don't want to pay for, and plus when you go out to eat, you don't have to do any dishes. It's saving you some effort and some energy. You're tipping for the convenience of somebody else bringing you your food and taking away the dishes and washing the dishes for you and bringing you your drinks and filling up your water. Because it's different people sometimes. The person who is serving you your food, why am I explaining this to people like they don't know? The person that's bringing you your food, like your server, is not necessarily the person who's going to be refilling your water. That's usually a Mexican. And that's the only English they know. Water? Water. Oh, yeah, I'll have some more water. Hey, man, how are you doing? Oh, no English, no English. No, water? Oh, water. Yeah, thank you for the water. So, hey, what's your name? No English, water. There's a couple of restaurants in this city, and I'm not mad at them because the food is good, where the only English the servers know is the menu. And if they speak them, they know how to say hello and good afternoon. Here is our menu. Here are our specials. I'm like, oh, okay, so what do you recommend? They sound like Bad Bunny all of a sudden because they don't know English, but they know the menu. And I'm not being racist. Everybody relax. Calm down. All right, let's get back to something that is racist, and that's Wisconsin Republicans, because in the Republican-controlled legislature, they passed in 2 consecutive sessions a ballot referendum that will change the Wisconsin Constitution, and it's going to read, when you get your ballot on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November, it's going to say, prohibit governmental discrimination and preferential treatment shall Section 1 of Article 1 of the Constitution be created to prohibit government entities in the state from discriminating against or granting preferential treatment to any individual or group on the basis of race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin in public employment, public education, and public contracting or public administration. That's a yes or no question. Here's what they need to keep in mind and where the pitfall is going to be and where some of the like big legal firms like ACLU is likely going to be able to sue. It'll be easier to prove that a job was given to a white person and not a black person because of this constitutional amendment. Because this basically says, I'm not going to give a job to a black person because that would be DEI. I'm protected by the law. Yeah, but if you give a job intentionally to a white person, that's discrimination too, and you would be in violation of this constitutional amendment. So what it does is it puts a lot of employers and government entities in legal limbo. Although the ballot uses neutral language, this is functionally an affirmative action ban modeled after California's Proposition 209 and Michigan's Prop 2. If passed in Wisconsin, it would constitutionally ban race-conscious admissions policies to all colleges and universities, prohibit diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in all public universities. It would prohibit minority contracting programs. It would prohibit targeted hiring programs, and it would prohibit equity-based public policy programs. Now, I just want to be clear, and you can disagree all you want to. The reason why we have the aforementioned programs is because discrimination had been demonstrated in the past. Black people had been banned from colleges and universities. We had been banned from programs in public universities. We had been banned from contracting opportunities with levels of government. I even have the dollar amounts that African Americans and minority businesses would lose. I'm talking about real money. I'm talking about hundreds of millions of dollars that black people get in doing contract work for the entities and agencies of government in which black people pay taxes. It now will be illegal to say, hey, you know what? Maybe 2 or 3% of these contracts for cutting the grass on city-owned lots or helping the city remove snow from some of its municipal buildings, maybe we should give a couple of percentage, not a huge percentage, but a couple of percentages to African Americans who in the past had been kept from those contracting opportunities. Meaning 97% of the contracts are still going to white people. But what these affirmative action policies do, especially in the city of Milwaukee or Milwaukee County, the state of Wisconsin, says we have many generations, many centuries of excluding black people. Let's give them 2 or 3% of these contracting dollars. Now, you got to think about this. 2 or 3% of billions of dollars is family feeding money for black folks. And it's all going to be completely evaporated. Let's talk to that one guy. You're on 101.7 The Truth. I don't think that's the name on your birth certificate, is it?
I know it's that. Okay. But good morning, and good morning, everybody. And you're jumping all over the place. I'm having a hard time keeping up. But I want to relate to one of the last things I heard.
You got to listen faster. You got to listen fast to my show.
Well, I'm not the brightest apple, okay? Well, I agree with you with the tipping. I tip on how good they are. So I like to go to the Nick a lot, man. You ever got in that blackened shrimp? Ooh, so good. Hey, try taking it home with you so you can have your way with it. So good, man. I always like to take it.
I'm all over the place. You taking blackened shrimp home to have your way with it, and you say I'm all over the place. All right, go ahead, proceed. That one guy, go ahead.
It's so good. But you try getting some takeout from them. What else? Also, you were talking about the marijuana topic again, and I wasn't able to finish last time because of my little stutter step. But just smoke it at home. Keep it at home. Don't disrespect the other people eating at the restaurant. That's just not right. We were all little kids at one point, but come on, people. But,
you can't use profanity.
But yeah, sir.
He used the S word. Yeah, you can't. You ain't got to hang up on him. Just dump it. But he said, what did he say? He's not the shiniest apple? Not the brightest apple? All right. Well, Zach, he hangs up. Zach gets Zach gets a little nervous. I've been doing this.
Is dump it.
I've been doing this so long. The amount of profanity that you will hear on talk radio you hear way more on radio than you do on TV, and nothing. And it's not, I guess it's not nice, but we're not, you guys, I got to tell you, don't use profanity. And the poor fellow was just saying, last time he didn't get to get his point out because I guess he stuttered a little bit and I had cut his call short. So he's like, let me finish what I was trying to say last time, and then Zach got him. It's gonna take, dude.
No, last time he dropped the S-bomb.
He said the S word again,
and he got hung up.
Zach, why don't we do this until we hear otherwise? Just dump it.
The rules are you dump it and you hang up on them. That's simple as that.
No. But if it's dumped, then nobody hears it, right?
No, so they still hear it.
Where do they hear it?
It goes over YouTube.
YouTube doesn't have FCC censorship.
Okay, but regardless, they broke the rules. Call's over.
Xavier, just dump it. All right, we don't. But sometimes people have got. Yeah, they want to make good points. Zach get mad when somebody cuss, and Zach cusses like a sailor. Oh, he gets like his chest get all big. Oh, here he comes.
That's not the point, Sherwin.
Zach, relax. And first of all, I'm doing a show right now. We'll talk offline if you need to talk. Calm down. God bless them. Everybody just all uptight. Epstein files got everybody messed up, don't they? Good.
Yeah.
God, let me go ahead and get back to this referendum. Everybody hot. The Wisconsin Prohibit Government Discrimination or Preferential Treatment Amendment is on the ballot in Wisconsin as a legislative referred constitutional amendment November 3rd, 2026. I think it's going to pass because when you read it, it says, oh, no, we don't want the government giving preferential treatment to people and discriminating against people, but it's going to have a demonstrable impact on individuals in this state who are getting opportunities that they have been left out of before. And it's been demonstrated that there were people in this state, in this city that said, oh, there's a black person applying for this opportunity, for this grant, for this contract. No, because they're black. Oh, they have the qualifications. They could fulfill the obligations of this government contract. Oh, they've met the mark to be admitted into this university. No, don't let them in because they're black. That's not fair to black people and brown people and first-generation people, et cetera, et cetera. And what the state is trying to do with this constitutional amendment is enshrine it forever that it is going to be illegal, more than illegal, unconstitutional, to try and make good on or really basically provide a basic level of reparation. And I think there's still some black people that think the reparations are coming. Let me put it to you this way. If known pedophiles can still serve in the federal government, they're not writing black people a check. It just, because justice is not exactly top of mind these days, because if it was, we would start with providing a level of justice to victims of child sex trafficking. They're not getting any reparations. Black folks certainly aren't either, just saying. So what this constitutional amendment does is it prevents the government, local government, state government from wanting to right wrongs that those same levels of government had committed in the past. All right, take a break, come back, get us a sip of coffee. I put some Splenda in this coffee because I didn't put anything in it when I first made it, and now I put too much Splenda in the coffee. I can't even get my coffee right. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. On Sunday afternoon, the Milwaukee Panthers return home to face in-state rival UW Green Bay Phoenix at the UWM Panther Arena for the Battle of I-43.
Loop a pass, baseline right, Franklin, in on Cotton, reverse layup. Oh, that was pretty. Elam, wrap a pass, left corner, Jackson, trigger three, and he hits it.
Scott Warris has the coverage starting at 1:30 p.m. on 101.7 The Truth and the Milwaukee Panthers Sports Network from Learfield. Tip-off happens at 2 o'clock.
The Humane Animal Welfare Society, HAWS, believes in keeping pets healthy and families together. No one should have to choose between rent and veterinary care. The Wellness Clinic at Hawes Animal Shelter in Waukesha offers important basics of dog and cat care to our community. Pet owners can schedule general exams, sick visits, receive vaccinations, even get preventatives and nail trims. Appointments are available weekdays and can be scheduled by calling 262-542-8852. Contact Hawes of Waukesha today for your pet's care.
Steinhoffel's President 5-Day Sale is happening now, and the furniture and mattress savings are so good. Start with at least 10% off store-wide, then you'll get $50 off every $4.99 you spend, plus doorbusters you gotta see in person. And if you're financing, I got something huge for you. 60 months with no interest until 2031 when you spend over $19.99, plus you'll get a $200 MasterCard reward card. It's only 5 days, so don't wait. And it's only at Steinhoffel's.
City Conference season is coming down to the wire, and we have a battle of two of the top teams in the City Conference Gold Division. Tune in Thursday night as the Milwaukee Hamilton Wildcats go on the road and look to knock off the top team in the City Conference, the Milwaukee Juneau Pioneers. Tip-off is set for 7 o'clock. The City Conference Game of the Week on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com is sponsored by Milwaukee Public Schools and presented by Gruber Law Offices.
Real talent is defined by what people can do, not where they learn to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. You might miss someone who has valuable skills to offer to help your business thrive right now and in the future. Because the truth is this: Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. When you let their story unfold, you gain a competitive advantage, because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. See the real person, complete. See what others miss. Hire skills first. Learn why it's a competitive advantage at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome back to the program. Why the language matters. I don't even know why I'm going over this, because I know that this referendum is likely going to pass. I just want people to be aware of what the consequences will be for people of any kind of minority status that are currently getting some kind of opportunity, which is a kind of form of reparations. They're going to make it essentially illegal to right some of the previous wrongs that have been committed against many people of color. Because I think it's a good thing that more people are able to get into colleges and universities, where those colleges and universities have prevented, banned, or barred people from admissions. There's an example from 1994 that I'll never forget. So I think it was one of the years in which the UW Badgers football team was real good. They're real good. I don't think they've been real good for a while, but they were real good back in the 90s. They even won them a Rose Bowl, okay? The athletic program of 1994 for the University of Wisconsin-Madison featured a shot of the crowd at Camp Randall. All right. In the very middle of this photograph that appeared to be taken at a football game. So this is a shot of the student section. There was an African-American student, like in the middle, right in the middle of this shot. And now everybody else surrounding this African-American was Caucasian. But right in the middle was this African-American student. And so around campus, people saw the African-American student. It was like, oh, man, congratulations. You're on the front page, on the cover, in the middle of the athletic program for this school year. And everybody kept, like, congratulating this guy, like, oh, man, this is awesome. You're right in the middle. Everybody can see your face when they get an athletic program. He's like, what are you talking about? He said, I've never even been to a football game. And so then the university had to issue a public apology for placing an African-American student's face in the middle of the program that they superimposed, because even UW-Madison, in their attempt to show diversity at this school, now this was 32 years ago, but in their attempt to show that, oh, we're a welcoming flagship university and we're diverse, they couldn't find a black student in any of the photos that they took of the crowd at Camp Randall. And so from that point forward, so this is in 1994, I remember the university and the entire university system, because each of the campuses had an issue with diversity. They said, all right, maybe we need to do something to increase our minority enrollment at the 13, I believe it's 13, UW schools. Because if you have to superimpose a black person's picture on an athletic program, you may have an issue with it admitting black people. And I don't want y'all to think that black children aren't smart and can't get into colleges and universities. But there might have been something in the admissions process, in that final stage of the admissions process, where somebody said, yeah, we already have 2 black students on campus of the school of 40,000. That's where we're going to draw the line. And just think for a second how that can diminish a young person's future if they're not admitted into a predominantly white institution. Because aren't you always telling black people to get an education, get a job, stop committing crimes and robberies, and stop stealing from all the Walgreens and the CVS's and the Walmarts? Because you know people are blaming us for all of those businesses closing, right? Because they say that we steal. They're not even for a second considering the fact that Walmart doesn't care and it will close a store in any city as long as it can make more profit and return more money to its shareholders. It has nothing to do with theft. Now, they may say, what happens is the public says, hey, look, they're closing another Walmart in the black community. Yeah, it's because of theft. Walmart doesn't issue a statement and say, no, that's not why we're closing. They just let the public continue with that narrative. There's another reason why you shouldn't shop at Walmart. Last time I went to Walmart, I needed light bulbs. And when we were at our old studio on East Capitol Drive, there was, I call it the little war zone. And that's not nice to say that. But the Walmart on East Capitol Drive, let's just say when you walk in, you never know what you're going to get. You are going to get the smell of marijuana. Guaranteed. You're going to smell weed. But I needed some light bulbs. I was like, let me just stop in this Walmart and get some light bulbs. Children were running around. Gunshots were going off. I heard of grenades. There was blood on the walls. People were swinging from the rafters. It was just I just wanted to get some light bulbs. You know what I mean? I don't shop at Walmart. Even though I just needed some light bulbs, I just feel uncomfortable shopping there because they'll close the store. And the problem is people depend on that Walmart for their needs. There's a pharmacy in there. People get their prescriptions filled there. Obviously, people work there, so it's a source of employment. But they'll close a Walmart in a second. But you also know that corporations and manufacturing establishments and assembly lines, they'll close because there used to be a ton of them in Milwaukee, right? And do we ever use the excuse of why they're closing the American Motors Company? Because that used to be a car manufacturer. That used to be American Motors before it was Walmart. Do you think that and it's a lot of black people work there. Do you think that they closed that American Motors manufacturing plant because black people were stealing the cars? That didn't come till later, till the Kia boys. That's when we started stealing cars. And I haven't even really heard much about the Kia boys lately. Maybe they've grown up. Maybe they're Kia men. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they're
They got me.
They stole your car?
Well, way back in the day, like 4 years ago, I had a Kia.
Oh, that's not back in the day. That was when they were hot.
Yeah.
Did you ever get your car back?
Well, it was total, thank goodness.
You were insured, I'm hoping.
Oh, yes. That's why I said thank goodness.
It's still really inconvenient. Like, I used to worry. Like, there's certain places that I think twice about going. My car is hard to steal. Kind of. I don't want to tell you how. No, I need to shut my mouth for I come out of here and my vehicle is gone. But that's a nightmare. There are actually two people that at one point in time may or may not have been affiliated with 1017 The Truth. One of them had their vehicle stolen like 3 times. And I'm saying to that person, just give up on driving. Just take the bus. In fact, you're so unlucky if your vehicle's been stolen 3 times. Even if you get on the bus, somebody might steal the bus. Like, you're an unlucky... Like, how does that happen? How does your car look like such a target that thieves are like, yeah, let's get this one again? But there were a lot of car thefts. That was a problem. All right, what this language means, it is the legal trigger that eliminates affirmative action programs, all racial equity initiatives in Wisconsin. It eliminates disparity-based contracting, targeted educational access programs. So many, many years ago, back in the 1980s, there was a study that was done. And it showed that if you are an African-American, so city contracting is really lucrative because the city has a lot of employees. But city employees are really expensive to hire and maintain. And here's the other problem with city employees. City employees that like cut down trees, they cut the grass on vacant lots, they remove the snow from the city of Milwaukee has got, if you include MPS, hundreds of buildings. Those buildings need the grass cut, they need landscaping, they need maintenance. Yes, we could hire city employees to do that, to cut all the grass. We got 170 MPS schools minimum. They all need their grass cut. We have municipal buildings, we have Department of Public Works, satellite sites, we've got City Hall. Just imagine, in fact, a third Nah, probably not that much. A third of our property in the city of Milwaukee is not collecting any tax revenue because it's either a nonprofit, a church, or a government building. So it's a lot of geography that the city owns, right? And so there needs to be services performed in those buildings. Maintenance, grass cutting, landscaping. We could hire city employees to do all of it, but we also would have to pay them pensions, which would drain our tax base. So what we do is we'll have contracts we'll issue. Here's an example. The city of Milwaukee used to divide the city into 9 different districts. And in those districts, you had like boulevards that have grass on them. You have city-owned properties. You have MPS schools, whatever. The city would let out 9 different contracts to do the grass cutting because it's a lot cheaper to pay this landscaping company, say, $50,000 to cut the city-owned lots and the vacant lots where there's city-owned property and cut these boulevards. It's cheaper to pay this contractor $50,000 than to pay an employee $50,000 a year for 30 years plus a pension of $50,000 a year until they die plus their health insurance. In contracting, they denied African-American contractors those opportunities. And so they had to do a study to demonstrate, yes, there was discrimination in giving some of those contracts to black contractors. So now what the city does is, okay, since we prohibited black contractors from doing the grass cutting and doing the landscaping and doing the interior maintenance and changing the light bulbs in some of these buildings, we're going to set aside 10% for African-American contractors because in the past, we didn't allow any. That will now be illegal if this constitutional amendment passes, and I think it will pass. The Wisconsin Senate passed the legislation in January of 2026. The Wisconsin Assembly passed the legislation to allow this ballot referendum to exist on November 3rd, 2026. The official amendment is the Assembly Joint Resolution 102 AJR 102, placement on the November 3rd, 2026 statewide ballot. Wisconsin ranks last amongst its Midwest peers and maintains already the weakest statutory commitment to minority businesses. So we're the worst, obviously, and already. This is going to make it worse. We in Wisconsin, I'm going to take a break and come back and give you just a more clear picture of what this referendum is going to do. We already underfund minority firms in Wisconsin by between $600 million and $1.2 billion a year relative to our population share. So with these DEI and affirmative action policies and these contracting preferences, we still are underfunding minority-owned firms by $600 million to $1.2 billion. If and when this referendum passes, these numbers will go up 3-fold or maybe 5-fold. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Experience, knowledge, results. That's what really matters when you need help after a serious truck accident. You'll need a lawyer experienced in fighting and winning for people just like you. Gruber Law Offices has the resources, strong track record of success, and a team of experienced lawyers to take care of your needs. We've successfully helped people injured in big truck accidents for more than 35 years. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Life isn't a single moment. It's a shared ribbon that bends through the years. It binds us to the things and people we love most. One insurance company knows this because they live it. For 100 years, we've been with your family for the moments that matter most. Erie Insurance.
Find a local agent at erieinsurance.com.
He's the voice for the people and the community's connection to change.
Sometimes justice looks different to me. Do you want them in jail for murdering Corey Stingley? Yes, you do. Do you want them to go to trial for what they did and go through that process? Hey, you know. But at the end of the day, the men that took Corey Stingley's life something happened to where they have to accept the fact that they did that and that they have to be labeled a murderer for a certain length of time and when it was nothing, I think that was a huge thing that happened when you had to climb mountains to get to this point. 13 years?
The Tory Lowe Show, weekdays from 1 to 4 p.m. Live on YouTube and right here on 101.7 The Truth.
Day 1, diagnosis day. The hardest day. The day you hear,
I'm sorry, this is a type of blood cancer.
But day 1 is just one day. At the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, we are here to help you move past day 1.
On day 45, I discovered an online community who shared great tips for in-treatment care.
I missed a lot of school during treatment, and LLS helped me keep up.
We are here for you. We exist for everyone fighting leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, and other types of blood cancer.
On day 185, LLS helped me file my insurance claims properly.
Day 5,840 and counting, and I'm still in remission.
To learn more and get help on day 1, day 2, day 983, or any day, please visit LLS.org or call 1-800-955-4572. That's LLS.org, 1-800-955-4572.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
There's another piece of legislation. This one relates to federal law. So there's a bill. You may have heard of it. It's called the SAVE Act. And this is a bad one, too. I don't know why there's this. Well, no, I do know why. There's a preoccupation with non-citizens voting because there is a belief in a party that is really going to start to lose a lot more elections because of their policies. They don't believe it. They think that they're losing. Republicans think they're losing elections because, people are voting twice and black people are voting twice and all these illegals are coming across the border, risking their literal lives so they can vote in our elections even though they're non-citizens. Let me give a little disclaimer here. I don't care if you're not a citizen of the United States because we don't make the process easy. And it's really long and it's really expensive. And if you've been here and you're paying taxes, you're paying into a system in which you'll never benefit. Because if you're not a citizen, you don't get Social Security. You don't get Medicare and Medicaid. Under really obscure situations could you potentially get any kind of those kind of social services, but it's minuscule. But if you're here and you're working and you're producing for the American economy and you want to vote in a school board race, who cares? Republicans believe that they are losing elections not because, Donald Trump is their leader, not because Donald Trump is pedophile adjacent. They think, well, it's all these illegals that are coming here. So here's what they're doing. And I think that there's a hidden agenda here, which is not so hidden. So the SAVE Act, which I'm going to give you the details of in a second, it passed the House of Representatives. I believe it's going to have an uphill battle in the U.S. Senate, which is good. It basically says for every American that wants to cast a vote in an election, you have to prove you're a citizen, even if you're already registered. You got to bring a passport, like more than just an ID. You got to prove your American citizenship. Now, here's what I think they're going to do. They're going to, this is what they expect. A non-citizen is going to show up to try and vote. They're not going to have the necessary documentation. And when you federalize the election, the federal government, meaning Donald Trump and his Department of Justice, will get all of the data of all of the people that didn't provide their citizenship paperwork when they were trying to register or trying to vote, and they would send ICE after those people. Now, remember, they set a really, really high quota of detainments per day in order to make good on deporting 11 million people, which they're not deporting anybody, you guys. The people that are being rounded up are detained in prisons and private prisons that have contracts with the federal government, where the federal government has got to provide a certain number of people, of bodies, whether they have been convicted of crimes or they are migrants. Because now all of a sudden they may being a non-citizen of crime. It's a misdemeanor at best. It's like a civil forfeiture. It's not even a crime. But because the federal government has paid the GEO Group, and then I think Corrections Corporation of America, there might be a third one, they have contracts because the federal government doesn't really operate prisons because, again, it's too expensive. So they contract it out to these private companies. I think last year those companies made something like $2 or $3 billion in profit from detaining people in their facilities. Some of those people are innocent. Some of those people are children. If the Trump administration, just a little side note on this so we can have a real clear picture moving forward, if the Trump administration was literally sending people back to their countries, they would tell us every single day. They would make note of it every day. There'd be a tally every single day. Fox News would promote the number every single day. But notice you're not hearing about people being deported. Notice you're not even seeing cargo planes full of migrants or people on boats that they're shipping back to their home countries. Because if they were doing it, not only would they let the American people know, Donald Trump would promote it over and over and over again. But he's not, because they are not sending anybody back to their countries. They are detaining them in prisons. Some of those prisons that they're being detained in have been called concentration camps. Let me do you one better. If you're a member of Congress and you have a federal detention center in your district, you have access to that detention center. You don't even need to call anybody. Any member of Congress can show up to a federal detention facility in their congressional district without notice, because they are a part of the legislative branch and they vote for the funding on those federal detention facilities. Do you follow where I'm going with this? Members of Congress are banned from touring those facilities. The amount of noise that a member of Congress has to make to get let in the door is insane. And the handful of members of Congress that have been let into these detention facilities said it's the worst thing they've ever seen. Deplorable conditions. People are sick and not getting medications. They are stacked up on top of each other. This is what this administration is doing. And for some of you, you think, oh, this is great because these migrants are coming here and they're committing the crimes. 14% of the people that have been detained are actually criminals. 14%. 86% are not. Now I'll do you one better. So they're not being deported. If you think you can't get a job because all the migrants are coming over here and they're taking all your jobs, well, 700 or 800,000 of them, I think, are detained right now. Have your job prospects gotten any better? They have not. Let me tell you why. You guys ever heard of prison labor? Oh, you haven't? Let me enlighten you. There's a number of corporations that benefit from people that are incarcerated making and producing products for maybe $1 a day. A lot of times they don't get paid at all. We have a whole manufacturing corporation in Wisconsin called Badger State Industries. If you haven't checked out their website, my, oh my, is it just packed full of products. Badger State Industries is essentially all of the goods and the services like office equipment, desks, chairs, mattresses, bed frames, credenzas. Not even sure what a credenza is, but they have all these different lists and these categories of products that are made by whom? People incarcerated in the state of Wisconsin. And these are people that are in state institutions because they committed a crime, a state law violation. When you add in all of the people that are being detained at federal facilities and all the additional labor that McDonald's, Cargill, Victoria's Secret, Walmart, because it's public, the corporations that benefit from prison labor, they don't hide it from us. That's where your job is. You're not going to get hired. Why would they pay you? What's the normal wage for a job? I don't know, $15, $17, $20 an hour. Are you insane? Why would anybody pay you that much? Even though that's not really enough money to live, they're mad that they got to pay you minimum wage. Or they can just have ICE break down people's doors, detain the whole family, send them to a detention facility, and make that whole family work for $1 a day or less. Why would they hire you? Again, there are some people that think, like, I'm entitled to a job and I need a job because I got to feed my family. Corporate America says, screw you. We need to get rich off paying you as little as possible. In fact, we're going to pay you nothing. We're going to wait until you commit a crime incarcerates you, and then per the 13th Amendment of the Constitution, where slavery should be illegal in these United States, unless there's the commission of a crime. Yesterday, I talked about the system. It hasn't really changed. It's just morphed its definitions of things. The thing about the American system that we live in, and most people don't believe it because we were sold a fairy tale about what America is. They indoctrinated us. You remember every Monday what you did when you were in school? You ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and indivisible for which it stands, one nation under, put that God in there, with liberty and justice for all. We couldn't possibly think, and we said that a lot every Monday. How many Mondays did we say that? Everybody stand up for the pledge. Everybody except for the Jehovah's Witnesses. They didn't stand. I remember that part. We were indoctrinated to think that our country could do no wrong. It wouldn't hurt people. It wouldn't harm people. It would always look out for us. It would always protect us. It would always make sure that we had jobs and always make sure that we had everything that we needed to be successful. It was a total lie. It was a complete and total lie. But we believed it. And so when I tell people how this nation actually operates, it's hard to compete with, 13 years of indoctrination of saying the Pledge of Allegiance every single Monday for your entire academic career. People don't want to believe it. You're not going to get a job because if we incarcerate you, we can make you work for free and then sell those same products to the American people for inflated profits. That's where we're at. There is no sympathy for the American people. The reason why Milwaukee looks the way it looks is because we were deindustrialized. We had all sorts of factories up here. It's why a lot of black people are here. It's why my family came up here. They didn't come up here for the weather. Came up here for jobs. And when those jobs left, now thankfully my parents were okay, but a lot of other families suffered tremendously. They are still continuing to deindustrialize. Now they're using prison labor like the country used slave labor. The reason why we don't have universal health insurance is not because it's too expensive. We print money. Think about it. Nothing is too expensive. I was told that the first 4 months of the Trump administration, we either printed or borrowed $43.5 billion a week. What? You mean to tell me you can't provide health insurance to people? That's insane to me. I'm going to take a break, come back, and talk about the SAVE Act. It is a way in which we can obtain citizenship information from people who are attempting to vote or registering to vote. And one of the reasons why Donald Trump has mentioned on many occasions federalizing our elections so that the federal government has control over, let's just say, the counting of the ballots. Doesn't matter how many people vote. What matters is who counts the ballots. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, mark your calendars for Friday, February 20th for the second annual Truth Community Awards, hosted by Homer Blow and yours truly, Bailey Coleman, celebrating individuals making a real difference in our community. Tickets are on sale now. Visit 1017thetruthAwards.com to learn more. The Truth Community Awards are sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, the Milwaukee Bucks Foundation, Gruber Law Offices, Steinhoffel's, Cousin Subs, and 3rd Street Market Hall.
Steinhoffel's President 5-Day Sale is happening now, and the furniture and mattress savings are so good. Start with at least 10% off store-wide, then you'll get $50 off every $4.99 you spend, plus doorbusters you gotta see in person. And if you're financing, I got something huge for you. 60 months with no interest until 2031 when you spend over $19.99, plus you'll get a $200 MasterCard reward card. It's only 5 days, so don't wait, and it's only at Steinhoffel's.
The Humane Animal Welfare Society, HAWS, believes in keeping pets healthy and families together. No one should have to choose between rent and veterinary care. The Wellness Clinic at Hawes Animal Shelter in Waukesha offers important basics of dog and cat care to our community. Pet owners can schedule general exams, sick visits, receive vaccinations, even get preventatives and nail trims. Appointments are available weekdays and can be scheduled by calling 262-542-8852. Contact Hawes of Waukesha today for your pet's care.
Hey y'all, it's 1017 The Truth's Rhea Riley for Sweet Talks Medical Spa in Menominee Falls. Skip the sterile clinical office feel. Sweet Talk stays on the cutting edge of beauty and wellness innovations in a vibrant, playful space promoting self-love and confidence. Sweet Talk specializes in a range of treatments, including injectables, medical-grade skincare, weight loss, hormone therapies, and more. Not sure where to start? Sweet Talks offers comprehensive wellness consultations to create a customized plan centered around you. Because at Sweet Talks, your goals are their goals. Learn more at sweettalks.com.
Dad's gonna be far side, good.
What should I do with my dress?
Do little wiggles. The slate's coming in.
What does it feel like when you're down or having a bad day?
It feels sad, like you just don't want to do anything.
All my little emotions in my head is just running crazy. I don't know what to do.
As a teacher or coach, do you ever feel overwhelmed supporting kids' mental health?
I had never experienced players being so down that they can't even participate.
You're just in tears in the huddle. I didn't know what to do.
Teachers need tons of help.
Kids Mental Health Foundation offers educational materials to help guide conversations with our students.
It's so important that we are constantly educating ourselves.
It's the same as the CPR class to me. We're trying to save a life here.
The Kids Mental Health Foundation has free tools and information developed by experts because kids' mental health starts with all of us. Scan the QR code or check out kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org to get started.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
My debut jazz album, Blue Mist. It's on YouTube, Spotify. It's everywhere. Go ahead and listen to it and play it or whatever. It's really good. I don't know why they have this obsession with the fallacy that people that vote for Democrats vote twice. The most egregious examples of voter fraud have been committed by Republicans, including, and this is a type of voter fraud too, when the former, now current president of the United States calls the Georgia Secretary of State and says, and I quote, "I just need you to find me 11,780 votes." That's voter fraud too. That's the former president trying to coerce and convince someone to manufacture votes that aren't there. That's voter fraud, and that's a big case of voter fraud. And luckily, the Secretary of State of Georgia at the time recorded the call. Because they probably told him, they're like, "Hey, Mr. Secretary of State," I think his last name was Kemp. They said, "Hey, Trump is on line one and he's hopping mad." And dude was like, "I better record this just to make sure." And the recording was played. It was used in court. And in fact, Donald Trump did admit that he was asking for those votes. And guess what happened to Trump? He got elected again. Whew. From the Associated Press, House Republicans rushed to approve legislation yesterday that would impose strict new proof of citizenship requirements ahead of the midterm elections. A long shot. The Trump administration priority says they face a sharp uphill blowback in the U.S. Senate. The bill, called the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility or Save America Act. That's a little dramatic. Save America. America only needs saving from the current administration. I still think that if he could run for a third term, I think he'd win. There would be some kind of way, or the Democrats would litigate a non-issue and not be focused on what the American people really want. And I think that.
So do you think leadership needs to change?
Yeah, I think so. All over the place. I hope it does, maybe. The bill, called the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility or Save America Act, would require Americans to prove they are citizens when they register to vote, mostly through a valid U.S. passport or birth certificate. It would also require a valid photo identification before voters can cast ballots, which some states already demand. It was approved on a mostly party line vote of 218 to 213. So 218 plus 213 is 231. There are 3 seats currently vacant in the House of Representatives, so a Democrat voted for this. At least one Democrat voted for this. Republicans said the legislation is needed to prevent voter fraud, but Democrats warn it will disenfranchise millions of Americans by making it harder to vote. Federal law already requires that voters in national elections be U.S. citizens, but there is no requirement to provide documentary proof. Experts said voter fraud is extremely rare and very few non-citizens ever slip through the cracks. Fewer than 1 in 10 Americans don't have paperwork proving that they are citizens. I bet a lot of you don't have a passport. You may have a birth certificate. Why is it I can never find my birth certificate when I need it? And I have a bunch of copies of it. They're all over the place. But I think I needed a birth certificate to get hired here. That would have been the last time I'd imagine I needed a birth certificate. I don't know. I keep losing them. And then you got to go down to the county and you got to go and stand in the line and you got to get your birth certificate, and parking is terrible. Most people are unable to prove their citizenship. With the change of, it's not a change of rules yet, because I don't think this is going to pass in the U.S. Senate, but all they need is this. They just need a couple percentages of people to be inconvenienced, a couple percentages of people that don't have the necessary documentation, but then also they're playing with people's time. If you don't have a passport or if you got to go to get a birth certificate, a lot of people are not going to take time out of their day to run those additional errands just so they can vote in the election. I'm trying to convince people, especially Republicans, do you know how hard it is to get people to vote just once, let alone commit all this voter fraud? Like, what interest do we have in voting multiple times? You want to talk about a stupid felony to get? There's a lot of really good felonies. Some felonies where you're like, oh, wow, that's an impressive felony. Imagine you getting shipped off to Waupun and you walking in and all the inmates are yelling, fresh meat, fresh meat. Oh, it's very scary, I bet. And then, of course, you get put in with your cellie, who's a murderer. And your cellie's going to want to know what you did. Your cellie be like, yeah, I killed 3 people in a drive-by shooting, in a walk-by shooting, and in a bicycle-by shooting. Your cellie is tough. Tattoos on their face, and they're probably sitting on the top bunk naked. And then your cellie is looking at you, naked, face all tatted up. What you in for? I voted twice. I really wanted David Crowley to win county, or I wanted him to win governor, and I voted twice. That's a dumb felony, because now your cellie is a murderer, and you over here, that's a dumb felony to get. So I just don't think people are double voting. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 3.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. The award-winning 1017 The Truth proudly celebrates Black excellence and the most monumental moments in our history. Tune in for Dr. Ken's Trivia, spotlighting powerful facts and moments you need to know. And Tori Lowe's Our Voices, Our Stories, amplifying the youth, perspectives, and lived experiences that define who we are. Celebrating Black excellence, celebrating our history. All month long on 1017 The Truth. The award-winning 1017 The Truth proudly celebrates Black excellence and the most monumental moments in our history. All month long, we're honoring the voices, the stories, and the achievements that have shaped our past, empowered our present, and continue to inspire our future. Tune in for Dr. Ken's Trivia, spotlighting powerful facts and moments you need to know. And Tori Lowe's Our Voices, Our Stories, amplifying the youth, perspectives, and lived experiences that define who we are. Tune in all month long as 1017 The Truth lifts up the legacy, the brilliance, and the power of Black history. Because Black history isn't just history, it's happening every day. 1017 The Truth's celebration of Black History Month is proudly sponsored by Educators Credit Union and Tayback Law. Celebrating Black excellence, celebrating our history. All month long on 1017 The Truth.
There, Jane Lynch here. You want to hear something funny? Too bad. You want to hear something uplifting that will inspire you? Good. Because today, I want to talk to you about Direct Relief, a humanitarian organization that does seriously good work when it counts. Fires, hurricanes, earthquakes. When disaster strikes, Direct Relief immediately shows up with medicines, medical supplies, and everything doctors and nurses need to save lives. Let's ship her out! Every day across the United States and around the world, they're making an enormous difference. If someone needs help, Direct Relief helps. No politics, no red tape. Hey, what you doing over there?
Oh, I'm packing insulin for kids with diabetes.
See, every box here is literally a lifeline for someone in critical need. So check them out at directrelief.org and donate if you can. You might just bring a smile to someone's face.
I take care of the kids, and I take care of my dad. I take care of things at work. The groceries, the cleanups, the meltdowns, the doctor's visits, the family events, mealtimes, bedtimes. I take care of all the things everyone else needs. But I haven't made time to take care of what I need.
Family caregivers are often overloaded. It can feel overwhelming and exhausting. It's no surprise that millions of caregivers experience symptoms of anxiety and depression every year. But help is available, because there may only be one you, but you don't have to do it alone. Head to mentalhealthcareworks.org. That's mentalhealthcareworks.org to learn how to get the support you deserve, because mental health care works when you make the call. If you're experiencing a mental health crisis or thoughts of suicide, dial 988, a message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
Get the truth and nothing but the truth with Sherwin Hughes every weekday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. on 1017 FM, 1510 a.m. WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Last hour I was talking about the SAVE Act, which was passed by the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, where I believe a Democrat may have voted for the Save America Act, which would require Americans to prove they are citizens when they register to vote, mostly through a valid U.S. passport or birth certificate. Even if you are already a registered voter, even if you've been voting at the same polling location for 10, 15, or 20 years, this is an additional requirement. And what they're hoping to do is a couple of things. If they, in fact, federalize our elections, which at this point we have to expect, but there is no constitutional authority for the federal government to have any involvement with our elections, save for the fact that you have to be 18 to vote. They can't control election administration. They can't control how the ballots are counted. They have no purview over that because that is a specific right that is granted to the states. Because some states are all mail-in. Some states allow you to vote early in person. Some states allow you to mail in your ballot. Some states even wheel voting machines into county jail so that inmates can vote. Because remember, if you're in a county jail, you have not been convicted of a felony. We should be doing that here. I'm not sure if we do. Or be mailing absentee ballots to people that are in correctional facilities. Because if you're serving time on a misdemeanor, you still should be afforded the right to vote because you don't have a felony. You legally can vote. Now, I don't think that it's fair because you happen to be incarcerated that you now also are not getting a ballot to vote. But what they're trying to do is make an additional barrier for people, because it's already tough to get people to vote, because I'd imagine a lot of folks are not really thrilled with their political choices. They don't like either party, and for good reason. And if you require people to have an extra step to go run an additional errand and go get a passport, unless you're going to make passports free, which they're not going to do, unless you're going to make getting a birth certificate copy free, which I don't believe it is, at least not in Milwaukee County, this additional barrier is going to take a percentage or two here, a percentage or two there from voter turnout. Now, remember, in Wisconsin, going back to the last time a candidate decisively won a statewide election in Wisconsin, you probably got to go back to 2012. When Mandela Barnes ran for the U.S. Senate, that was something like 27,000 votes. That was in 2022. When Tony Evers won re-election, it was probably within that 30,000 vote margin. When Donald Trump won the state of Wisconsin most recently, it was maybe 30,000 votes. When Donald Trump won the state of Wisconsin in 2016, 24, 25, 26,000 votes. There's almost 4 million voters in the state of Wisconsin, so the margin is really, really slim. And what the SAVE Act would do is it could negate that very small advantage that Democrats got when they won statewide elections, and that's all they're trying to do. And just by the House passing this, and I don't think it passes in the Senate, there are some people that are going to say, you know what, I'm not going to get a birth certificate, or I'm not going to show my birth certificate, or I'm not going to bring my passport. I'm just not going to vote at all. That is what Republicans are counting on. Because as time goes on, the Democrats' policies, while not perfect, please stop thinking the Democrats are perfect, they're a deer in the headlights right now. They read Epstein files and like, damn, sure wish we could do something about this. They can't do a lot. But I think too many people believe that for every deficiency or lack of governing that exists with a Republican leader, that the Democrats have the answer. They don't. The biggest fear should be this. Donald Trump is changing the presidency forever. And there are things that he has done, things he's been able to get away with. He accepted a plane from a foreign country. You can't accept a bribe. Do you know that Tom Homan, who is they created a position for him, he's the border czar. He's basically overseeing all of the ICE activities. His name is Tom Homan. The FBI caught him in a sting where he was handing out like contracts to his friends, and so they investigated him. Did you guys know this? I just want to give you an example of the corruption that is existing right in plain sight, right in front of our faces, that is not being prosecuted. It's being totally overlooked. So Tom Homan was under investigation. It might have even been during the Trump administration or the Biden administration, whomever. So he was caught in a sting where he accepted a $50,000 cash bribe to hire or to give contracts out to certain private businesses. And it was all set up by the FBI. So he took the money. He accepted the bribe. Boom, case closed. They got him. They got all the evidence. They got the phone wiretaps. They got the agents that were wearing the recording devices. They got it all. Trump hired him anyway. And Kash Patel was asked what was the details of the investigation where Tom Homan took this $50,000. They're like, well, but he didn't spend any of it. Like stuff like that the American people would typically frown on, it doesn't even matter anymore. So there are things that Trump has done that we just don't have the time, the effort, the energy, the man or woman power to prosecute. The number of attorneys that work for the Department of Justice that have just retired and resigned because they don't want to be a part of this administration is staggering. So we don't even have the attorneys to pursue criminals. Let me do you one better. The Department of Justice used to have a civil rights division where they would investigate claims of discrimination, which, believe it or not, there's quite a few in the United States, as you can imagine. All of the attorneys that were assigned to the United States Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, you know, the people that make sure our constitutional rights are not violated as black people and brown people and minorities, All of them have been moved over to Immigration and Customs Enforcement. There's literally nobody, or very, very few people, not nearly enough people to handle the discrimination cases. We're talking about when a person sues a police force for racial discrimination, there's nobody at the federal level to investigate it. Some of those things I think are going to be permanent because the Democrats are going to have to spend. Let's just go ahead and assume something. And don't even get me started on the Supreme Court. They have a decision that they're taking their time on, and I have a feeling it's going to drop at the most inconvenient time possible about the constitutionality of the Voting Rights Act. If the Voting Rights Act was created and signed into law by Lyndon Johnson because states were discriminating at the ballot box with stuff like literacy tests and poll taxes and just outright denying African Americans the right to vote, and then the Supreme Court says, well, look, black people can vote now. Look at their turnout. We've even had a black president not one time, but 2 times. Look at the number of African Americans who were serving in Congress, who were serving as governors, even though I think there's only one black governor. The Supreme Court is going to decide on the constitutionality of the Voting Rights Act, meaning if they strike it down, then states who have the right to control their elections will be able to say, well, you got to pass this test before you register to vote. Well, you got to be a homeowner if you want to vote in this particular county. You got to bring the deed to your house or the title to your car if you want to be able to vote. Because remember, if you let states do their own thing without federal oversight, some states would try to bring back slavery. If and when the Supreme Court releases their decision on the Voting Rights Act, you will see such a monumental shift in American policy that it may be changing elections and how we vote and how we look at elections forever. And so if the Democrats are to reverse everything that Donald Trump has done, they will not be able to govern for the majority of the American people. And one of the strategies was when Donald Trump first got into office, that first month, he signed like 200 executive orders. You guys remember that? He signed executive orders to reverse absolutely everything, or try to reverse everything that Joe Biden did, especially as it related to diversity, equity, inclusion, as it related to you name it. The next Democrat that gets elected, if we can get a Democrat elected, because, we're going to fight over that. I don't care who y'all nominate. I don't care. Pete Buttigieg would be tough. No, he would. He's real good. He's very smart. Xavier's shaking his head. No, Pete Buttigieg? His husband has gotten a little bit better because his husband is like real super flamboyant, and his husband used to get on Twitter and just...
We need a real progressive running for the presidency.
Progressive can't win. I know that you don't want to hear that. But if you are too far left of... If you use anywhere, if they ever tweet or post or have a policy position on defunding ICE, that Democrat cannot win. Just like defunding the police was a loser. Now, we know that ICE isn't necessary. We've got local law enforcement and sheriffs and highway patrol and local cops. We don't need more law enforcement, but it's going to backfire. And Democrats love catering to a progressive cohort, which is the future, I think, of the Democratic Party. We're not there yet, but I think the future of the Democratic Party is dramatically more progressive than the rest of Democratic voters. And what happens is Democrats will cater their messages to a cohort of people that don't have enough numbers, enough population, and don't vote. And so Bernie Sanders can cater to 18 to 29-year-olds, and he did because they came to his rallies. Problem is they didn't go to the ballot box. That's what the issue is. I know the future of the Democratic Party, and I'm fine with it because at this point, just basically leave me alone. Who do I vote for to where I don't have to read the news every day, where I don't have to worry about stuff? Who is that party? Find that person. Hi, I'm the don't worry about anything party. Hi, everybody is going to get fair stuff, and here's some health care for you. If you don't want it, you don't have to have it. Here's some tax breaks for you if you want it. Here's just more fun stuff. Here's more amusement parks. Hi, I'm from the don't worry party. Vote for us so you don't have to worry about anything. Don't worry, all the things that you worry about we'll fix. We're from the don't worry party. It'll be fine. Climate, we got it. Marijuana legalization, smoke it wherever you want to, except in the Golden Nest Cafe. Crime, well, we'll give people jobs, and we'll even do a little universal basic income. If you don't want to go to work, well, we can't make you. Here's some money so you don't steal. Prisons are overcrowded. Let's let the people that are convicted of nonviolent offenses go and work for the sanitation department. No, we're the don't worry about anything party. Go ahead and just make AI music and walk around barefoot if you want. You want to walk around naked at a beach? Don't worry about it. We're the don't worry party. Do just fine. Just don't hurt anybody. Don't traffic kids, though. That's probably should be top of mind for the don't worry about it party. But whatever political party, you're just like, yeah, we're just going to make the government work for everybody. If you're hungry, you can go get food. We'll keep inflation in check. You want to invest your money in the stock market? All right, you'll be able to make a little money. We want to make home ownership more affordable, make college more affordable. In fact, you know what? Why don't we just make tech schools be free? We can subsidize them like we used to and just make it free just like other public schools. We're just the don't worry about anything party. Give me that person. I would love to just vote for somebody who's like, hey, hi, I'm the candidate. It doesn't even matter what my name is. I'm just from the don't worry about it party. But we need to know what your name is. Don't worry about it. You don't like Trump. You don't like Gavin Newsom. You didn't like Kamala Harris. Vote for me. I didn't like those people either. I'm from the don't worry about it party. Let's just chill out. It's totally fine. You want a beer? I'll get you a beer. You vote for me, everyone gets a free coupon for a beer. Don't worry about it. The election is on November 3rd, 2026, and I'm your candidate for the don't worry about it party. But what's your name? Don't worry about it. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Don't worry about it. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, make sure you tap in all week long as we'll be giving away a pair of tickets every single day to the second annual Truth Community Awards taking place on Friday, February 20th. Last year was fire, and this year we are turning it up even more as we celebrate the unsung heroes who are out here making a real impact in our community. So make sure you are tapped in all week long to the Truth so you don't miss your chance to win free tickets to the biggest and best community awards right here in our city.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 10 and 35%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
70 million people in the U.S. have learning and thinking differences, like ADHD and dyslexia. Each has their own story. This is ours. At first, I thought it was just a phase. Then schoolwork became a struggle. Emotions got bigger, and my kids started falling behind. I felt alone, like I was lost in the dark trying to find answers. Then I learned about Understood.org, a nonprofit empowering parents and kids like us. It was like we had a light to show us the path ahead. Whenever new challenges came up, their guidance helped us figure out our next step. We still have tough days, but now we have direction. And I have the tools and resources I need to help my child thrive. No matter where you are on the path, Understood can help you keep moving forward. Visit understood.org/yourpath today.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Happy kids heal faster, and that's why Starlight is dedicated to improving the mental well-being of sick kids across the U.S. Learn how at starlight.org.
Proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks. One call, that's all.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
If the affirmative action referendum passes on November 3rd, 2026, minority contracting values in the city of Milwaukee only of between $95 and $115 million will disappear and, in fact, will be made illegal. Milwaukee reports combined disadvantaged business, women-owned businesses, and minority business enterprises spending rather than disaggregating strictly by race. However, multiple fiscal breakdowns show that minority-owned firms receive roughly half to 60% of certified contracting dollars. That equates to between $95 and $115 million that will be made illegal if this referendum passes. At the county level, there's a total of $468 million worth of contracts afforded to minorities. $62 million is the share that goes to disadvantaged and minority-owned businesses. That would be going down to zero. Dane County has annual, they give all their damn money to minorities in Dane County. They have county contracts between $38 and $45 million a year. The minority portion of that is $20 to $26 million. So more than 50% of Dane County's contracts go to disadvantaged and minority-owned businesses. Oh, look at Racine. Boo-hoo. $14 to $20 million of minority contracts that go to firms that are of minority status. $14 to $20 million a year, that would be completely eliminated. Let's see how Wisconsin stacks up with other states. Comparison to Illinois, Michigan, and Minnesota. Annual minority contracts, states only. Well, Illinois has got bigger population. Their total contracting is $19 billion. $5 billion goes to minority contractors, so 30%. Minnesota has $5.3 billion worth of contracts, $580 million or 11% go to minority-owned firms. The state of Michigan, $7.1 billion worth of government contracts minorities get, $640 million. I'm just doing a comparison. These states will still maintain their minority contracting opportunities, so here's what I would suggest you do. You don't necessarily have to be from Minnesota, Michigan, or Illinois to qualify for or to get a minority contract. So if the referendum passes in Wisconsin, just apply for contracting opportunities in other states. Don't tell anybody I told you that now. That's between me and you. Illinois has $19 billion worth of contracts. $5 billion a year go to minorities. Michigan has $7.1 billion in contracts. $640 million goes to minorities. The state of Minnesota, $5.3 billion of contracts. $580 million or 11% goes to minorities. Wisconsin, $3.2 billion worth of contracts. Only $156 million or 5%. So Wisconsin already has the lowest share of contracting opportunities going to minorities at $156 million out of $3.2 billion. Only $156 million goes to minority firms in Wisconsin, or 5%. That would be going down to zero. Let's talk to a minority that I hope never gets a contract. Hi, Bob. How are you today?
Hello, Sherwin. You know, should Pyro, Newsom, or the leader of the minority party, it seems like, would be a good threesome to run for president.
So, Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, or Hakeem Jeffries, who is the minority leader in the House of Representatives, you think would be good candidates?
Correct. Now, if I may, a side note, please. You mentioned yesterday time off. No, you don't need no time off because we like And you shouldn't say you love us too much because it sounds too mushy. We know you love us. You just like us. You know what I mean? And, remember, there was 2 CNAs that work in the nursing home. They called me.
Bob, where are we going?
Wait a minute.
Can you land the plane? Land the plane, Bob.
Okay.
All right now.
There was 2 CNAs that called me saying, their patients listen to Sherwin's show and they're being more independent. Independent. See, that's part of your talent. You just do things, or have Bob down there and play the sax. You know what I mean? And they're being more independent. That's what you did. You didn't even know it. You're too ornery to know it. But that's what you did. And I'll land the plane on that. Talk to you later, sir.
Crash and burn. Okay, then that's...
Where do these guys come from?
I don't know. I try to understand what's happening. Everybody relax.
I'm always very confused.
The don't worry about it party needs to just kind of take over. Hey, everybody, just don't worry about it. It's going to be totally fine. Speakers of the House, and I hope Hakeem Jeffries becomes speakers of the House because listen to me. If the Democrats can't pick up 4 seats out of all 435 that are up for re-election. Now, we've seen in some special elections, like in the New Jersey governor's race and the Virginia governor's race, where Democrats have won by comfortable margins. We even saw a real unique phenomenon in Texas 9, the 9th state Senate district in the state of Texas, which had been held by a Republican for 35 years. Most recently, a Republican Donald Trump won that district by 15, 17 points. A Democrat won that special election in Texas 9 by double digits. That caused a meltdown from Donald Trump. After that Texas 9 special election where a Democrat won in a seat that had been comfortably held by a Republican for 35 years, Donald Trump immediately takes to Truth Social and then begins his pronouncement of wanting to federalize the election. So in that climate and in this climate and what the future climate will be politically, if the Democrats can't pick up 4 seats, because there's some seats that Republicans have held in the House of Representatives for, 10, 15 years, where the Republican candidate doesn't even have to raise any money. Okay? They don't got to raise money because it's a seat that they just always win. Maybe it was gerrymandered. Even gerrymandered districts, so districts that were drawn to encompass more Republican voters, are now flipping to Democrats. And if the Democrats cannot pick up 4 seats, then that party needs to lose its charter. Now, I think that they will. But I would rather Hakeem Jeffries be Speaker of the House and be in the position that Mike Johnson is currently in than for Hakeem Jeffries to leave the House of Representatives and then run for president, because I cannot recall. There may have been a couple throughout history. If you're Speaker of the House, you never run for president or you never win. Most recent speaker that I can recall that ran for president was a fellow from Racine. Of course, Paul Ryan lost. But Paul Ryan was Speaker of the House of Representatives, and he was on the ticket with a fellow who we forgot all about. Remember Mitt Romney? Mitt Romney, who was the Republican governor of Massachusetts. You remember Mitt Romney, who had a health care program that he authored and that he signed into law in Massachusetts that Barack Obama got the blueprint from? The Affordable Care Act is a Republican-created health insurance plan. Ain't that crazy? Barack Obama was like, I ain't no fool. I'm not going to come up with a Democratic plan because they'll say it's a black plan. I'm going to steal it from a Republican, and I guarantee the Republicans are going to hate it, and they do. Still to this day. But the Affordable Care Act was blueprinted off of a health insurance plan that Mitt Romney was proud to have promoted and signed into law in the state of Massachusetts. Imagine that. The Republicans are going to have to raise more money to defend seats in the House that they never had to raise money for before. They're going to have to raise hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars defending their own turf, and this is good. Now, it also opens up the door for corruption because I don't know if it's been verified yet. Now, I got to verify. Elon Musk is getting back into the fray. Elon Musk and Daddy Trump made up. For a while, they was mad at each other. They stopped dating. They were an item for a while. Remember Doge? And they were together, holding hands, making sweet love to one another. Politically, of course, not. Well, wait a minute. Is Elon in the Epsteins? I think he is. I think he's in the Epsteins.
All the billionaires are the major ones. Bill Gates, Peter Thiel, all the Joe Rogan's friends.
Joe Rogan is a tricky one. Sometimes he's on the mark. He was a Bernie guy.
Yeah,
but
he's
then
completely brain fried now, though.
There was something he said, because I don't watch his whole shows because he interviews really dope people. I will give him that. He did a 3-hour interview with Trump. And Kamala was supposed to do Joe Rogan, which, maybe you don't want to give any credence to the manosphere, but her not doing the interview hurt worse than her doing it and potentially messing up or saying something stupid, because at least she could say that she did it and nobody could hold it against her that she didn't do Joe Rogan. Trump did 3, that's crazy, 3 hours. So what Kamala said, because I was curious if she was going to take the interview or not, because he offered both of them. He's like, I'll give you my whole show. He's like, y'all pick the day. If I have guest schedules, what Joe Rogan said to both Trump and Kamala, I don't care what day y'all are available. I'll kick a guest out of here and I'll give you my entire 3 hours. Trump was like, I'll come tomorrow. And Trump showed up, did a whole 3 hours. Kamala was like, I'll give you 1 hour, but you have to come to Washington, D.C. Joe Rogan said, I don't do that. I broadcast from Austin, Texas. And Kamala turned it down because she tried to impose her rules on Joe Rogan as a podcaster. But there was I can't remember. There was a clip that I saw like in the last week or two that was just so disgustingly wrought with conspiracy theory. Oh, what was it? It just made me lose. Because I have respect for people that involve themselves in this art. And broadcasting is an art. There's some science involved too, but I think it's an art in how you deliver information in a way where people want to listen to it and you get people like Bob to call, right? I respected him for his attention to the art, but whatever he said, I got to try and find it because it's bothering me, because he just went, I think it was something with the Trump assassination where he just went so wild with the conspiracy that I was just like, yeah, I can't trust this dude no more.
Well, you should see what his show last week when he had the guy from the government basically whitewashing what Epstein did.
Maybe that's what it was. That could have been it.
He kept saying girls juice deals when he's referring to 9-year-olds.
Wait, what did they call him?
He said girls juice deals. That's what his guest was talking about.
Girls juice deal. What is? Oh, I don't even want to know what that means.
Yeah, well, it's viral.
Oh, they juice the girls are like bribery to get somebody to sign a contract or something.
Exactly.
Oh, that's not.
Yeah, the guy.
Just go to the strip club where everybody's 18. Don't.
According to the guy, he said if you're a billionaire and you're 79 years old, you can't really walk into a bar and get a woman, so you have to go to Epstein.
I'd like to think that if you're old and have a lot of money, you can it's really easy to get a woman. You just point. It's like, you, ma'am, come with me. I shall take you to paradise in my large mansion. Okay, well, that's gross. Let me take a break, come back. Oh, I probably should read some text messages because I don't do that very often. 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017, talking about the affirmative action ballot referendum. It's going to appear in November. Also discussing the Save America Act that will require you, registered voters and American citizens, to go above and beyond to prove your citizenship when you go and vote in upcoming elections, which I think is just an unnecessary barrier. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Hey y'all, it's 1017 The Truth's Rhea Riley for Sweet Talks Medical Spa in Menominee Falls. Skip the sterile clinical office feel. Sweet Talk stays on the cutting edge of beauty and wellness innovations in a vibrant, playful space, promoting self-love and confidence. Sweet Talk specializes in a range of treatments, including injectables, medical-grade skincare, weight loss, hormone therapies, and more. Not sure where to start? Sweet Talks offers comprehensive wellness consultations to create a customized plan centered around you. Because at Sweet Talks, your goals are their goals. Learn more at sweettalks.com.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Truth Nation, it's time once again to celebrate excellence, passion, and the power of community at the second annual Truth Community Awards, happening Friday, February 20th at Venue 3 inside the 3rd Street Market Hall in downtown Milwaukee. This award show will honor the unsung heroes who show up, give back, and make a positive impact in our community every single day. We're rolling out the red carpet and showing love to those who truly deserve it. Buy your tickets now by visiting 1017thetruthAwards.com. Tickets are just $20, which includes free food and exclusive Truth giveaways. Join the 1017 The Truth team for an unforgettable night of entertainment, inspiration, and community pride at the second annual Truth Community Awards on Friday, February 20th at Venue 3 in Milwaukee. The Truth Community Awards are presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Gruber Law Offices, Steinhoffels, Milwaukee College Prep, Cousin Subs, Venue 3 at the 3rd Street Market Hall, and the Milwaukee Bucks Foundation.
Metastatic breast cancer, or stage 4 breast cancer, happens when cancer spreads beyond the breast to other parts of the body. About 168,000 women are living with it today, with Black women at a higher risk due to various factors. Research has led to treatments that help manage the disease and improve quality of life. The Everyday Counts study explores how nutrition and exercise coaching can support women with metastatic breast cancer. To learn more about the Everyday Counts study in Milwaukee, call 414-955-8819 or email edc@mcw.edu. If you or someone you know has stage 4 breast cancer, please encourage them to call and enroll in this valuable study. Again, call 414-955-8819 or email edc@mcw.edu.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Join me every Friday at 11 a.m. for the Milwaukee Experience with Sherwin Hughes. And of course, that's presented by Visit Milwaukee. Milwaukee is a city that knows how to celebrate, where the calendar is packed with festivals, plates are piled high with flavor, and lakefront sunrises set the stage for unforgettable days. Here in Milwaukee, every street leads to something worth savoring. It's a place that welcomes you with open arms, where joy is shared through bites of food, beats of music, and cheers for our favorite sports teams. The Milwaukee Experience every Friday at 11 a.m. exclusively on The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee. For those of you that don't know, that is my segment where I highlight and showcase all the wonderful things there are to do in this city. You know, Milwaukee punches way above its weight class in entertainment and amenities, and I like to showcase a few of those. So I feel like tomorrow, when we do the Milwaukee Experience, I'm going to list for you some of my favorite restaurants because y'all have been giving me hell about the picture I posted of the fish fry I went to last Friday. And I'm not telling you guys where it is. I'll give you 25 other restaurants. I just don't want you going to this one because it was the best fish fry I've ever had. And here's the thing about it. When I walked in, the place was empty. I got to sit wherever I wanted. The server was attentive because she had no other tables, and it was just lovely, and it was quiet, and it was peaceful, and they were playing softly in the background 90s R&B music. I'm like, oh, this is ideal. I don't want you all ruining it. Not to say that you would ruin it, but the possibility is there. I want that place to remain exactly as it is. Now, I might also want the place to get additional business so it can stay open, obviously. But not when I'm there. Nope, I don't want you all to go. So tomorrow on the Milwaukee Experience, why don't we highlight a few of my favorite restaurants? And you know what? Why don't you guys share some of your favorite restaurants as well? So start thinking about where you enjoy the food and the service, the atmosphere and the ambiance, because I'd like to hear from you all as well, because I'm sure we have some overlap. In fact, I know we have overlap because I've seen a lot of you at some of the restaurants that I like to frequent in this city. All right, why don't we do this? Take a look and see who's texted us. I tend to pay a little more attention to people who are live chatting on YouTube because those are real-time comments, and I sometimes am not as attentive to the text messages that we receive at 833-212-1017. Rodney says, when did he send this? You're using Splenda wrong. Dip your spoon into wet. Dip in Splenda and stir. Repeat if needed, not to be shaken. No, we have packets here, buddy. We got these here. I don't got no spoon here. I ain't got no spoon. I mean, this packet is enough Splenda. I'm not. No, just one little packet of Splenda. I don't dip no spoon in Splenda. Rodney goes on to say, because he's clearly on a roll when he was texting earlier, regarding incarceration, know that the Marcus Corporation has a monopoly in Milwaukee on shipping to prisons, and they have a catalog for prisoners and their families to purchase from exclusively from them. Yes, that Marcus, Midtown. Is there a Marcus something? Because Marcus, they own hotels and movie theaters. There's no movie theater at Midtown. I ain't been in a movie theater at Capitol Court in 1,000 years. Was there ever one? No, there was no. Unless you might be thinking of something else. Bill says, perfect. The don't worry party. I wish it could happen. Bill, it might be more of a reality than you think because, I've been working, in and around politics for a really long time. I have never, and I try and get an assessment from people because, obviously I talk to folks, I interact with a lot of people on social media, and they do not hold back on sharing their political opinions with me, which I appreciate. I have never in my life seen this level of discontent with American politics. Obviously, there's a healthy amount of hatred for Donald Trump and what he is doing and how he is manipulating the federal law and violating all of the rules, even the things that both parties have kept sacred he's violating. But also, people see the ineffectiveness and the inefficiencies in the Democrats. Kamala Harris checked a few too many boxes. And I know that some of y'all that voted for her and you'd vote for her again may get offended by that. But it doesn't matter if you check all the boxes. If you're a minority and you're a woman and you're the first person to do this and all that stuff is fantastic because I love when people who traditionally would be kept out get to realize their full potential. And Kamala Harris's potential is she was a legitimate presidential candidate, but she didn't win. And because of that, I think it's eroded a lot of people's confidence in who the Democrats will produce. I think if they have the shiniest object, the most trans-friendly, LGBTQ-friendly, labor union-friendly, public education-friendly, free healthcare-friendly, free universal basic income-friendly, whatever it is, right? They got to check all these boxes, and on paper it looks wonderful. But in practicum, the American people just said no. And having a candidate that checks boxes is great. It really is. It's a highlight for the nation. But if they can't win, it doesn't matter. And there's a level of discontent with American politics right now that I have never seen before. There's always people that are going to be angry, that are going to say the Democrats are worthless and that the Republicans are horrible. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, there's some policy or some version of either the state of Wisconsin or Milwaukee or America that one party does better than the other. They give us a vision of how they're going to lead and how they're going to govern. And you would go with one or the other, and it was fine most of the time. There's always complaints. If you vote for a Republican and you are a Republican and a Republican wins, you are supposed to be discontent with how that governor or that Republican, rather, is leading. If you don't like what they're doing, you're supposed to. That's what democracy is, you see. Same with the Democrats. I am a Democrat. I vote for Democrats. I have an understanding and appreciation for how black people can have barriers removed or lowered through a history of Democratic Party policies. Will they fix everything? No, but I don't need them to. Lower the barrier so I can at least jump over it. Because before the barriers were so high, we couldn't even get a ladder. But I guess they can get ladders to climb over the border wall. Hey, whatever happened to the border wall? Remember that? Is it done? He stopped talking about that because it used to be a rallying cry. Build the wall. Build. Drill, baby, drill. Build the... Makes me wonder what Donald Trump and his friends were actually drilling. You know what I mean? It wasn't for oil. Drilling for something else. But the level of discontent with American politics is... And I don't know if the Democrats... And maybe I'm overexposed. But I don't know if they're capturing the moment. And they grandstanded yesterday when the Attorney General was testifying before Congress. That was just... She had opposition research on each Democrat that questioned her. It's called a burn book. It's something that we use in campaigns. So Pramila Jayapal, who is a very progressive leader in the House of Representatives, I think she... X, can you find out where Representative Jayapal is from? I can't remember. She was looking through the Epstein files, as we would expect all members of Congress to do. And so the government is spying on members of Congress, which is illegal. She represents the state of Washington. Okay, thank you, X. All right. So how the Epstein files are set up is you have to search specifically for what you're looking for because it's in no coherent order, and they do it that way on purpose. And so Representative Jayapal wanted to find some of the more, I guess, egregious things in the Epstein files to bring it up to Pam Bondi yesterday. Pam Bondi had a copy of everything that Representative Jayapal searched for. And they showed her search history in Pam Bondi's notes. So it looks really bad. It looks like Pramila Jayapal is a pervert. But she was just searching for what information she could find in the Epstein files by searching certain strings of words, right? So here's what Representative Jayapal was looking for in the Epstein files because she wanted to question Pam Bondi about, hey, what about this in the Epstein files? How come you didn't go after somebody? How come you didn't prosecute somebody? So here's what she was searching for. They said that the Department of Justice has their own login to look at the search history of each Democratic member of Congress. That's illegal. You can't dox members of Congress. So here's what Pramila Jayapal was searching for. New Brazilian just arrived, sexy and cute, 19 years old. Thank you for a fun night. Your littlest girl was a little naughty. Thank you for a fun night. From Kira, I can't pronounce that last name, from Kira D to Jeffrey Epstein, quote, I found at least 3 very good young girl, but we was so tired. I will cover up this week. Meet this one, not beauty queen, but we both like her a lot. And then she searched for, so what I just read is what was returned by the Congresswoman's search. Epstein victim list. She searched for that. All redacted is what it came back as. Oh, I love the torture video from Sulayam to Jeffrey Epstein. Child exploitation and human trafficking task force PowerPoint on Epstein trafficking. All redacted. And so Pam Bondi was like, yeah, well, why are you searching for Brazilian girl? It was so ridiculous. So bad. Don't worry about it, party. All the people in the Epstein files will totally go to jail. Just don't worry about it. The IRS deadline to pay your taxes is April 15. Don't worry about it. Get around to paying your taxes when you want. If you don't pay, well, just come get them. Don't worry about it, party. Coming to a ballot near you. But what's the candidate's name? Oh, don't worry about it. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, mark your calendars for Friday, February 20th for the second annual Truth Community Awards, hosted by Homer Blow and Bailey Coleman, celebrating individuals making a real difference in our community. Tickets are on sale now. Visit 1017thetruthAwards.com to learn more. The Truth Community Awards are sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, the Milwaukee Bucks Foundation, Gruber Law Office, Steinhoffel's, Cousin Subs, and 3rd Street Market Hall.
Steinhoffel's President 5-Day Sale is happening now, and the furniture and mattress savings are so good. Start with at least 10% off store-wide, then you'll get $50 off every $4.99 you spend, plus doorbusters you gotta see in person. And if you're financing, I got something huge for you. 60 months with no interest until 2031 when you spend over $19.99, plus you'll get a $200 MasterCard reward card. It's only 5 days, so don't wait, and it's only at Steinhoffel's.
Grab the dial and crank it up, baby, because Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee is spinning its Winning Hits collection. Over the next 3 months, you could win a share of over $1 million in prizes. On top of thousands in cash and reward play, you could win one of 3 new Ford vehicles in the grand finale drawings on March 27th. Just play with your rewards card to earn entries. Press play on the Winning Hits collection, only at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on where you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
That one guy wants to know, what did we learn today? We learned that you use a little too much profanity on the air. Can't say that. Can't say a bunch of words. There's a lot of words you can't say on the air, but the N-word is totally acceptable. Isn't that wild? There was a lady she was from one of those reality shows where they rebuild houses or whatever. I don't remember what her name was because I don't watch that kind of stuff. But I guess there was a clip of her saying the N-word, and they canceled her. She had a show on HGTV. You know those shows where they rehab a house and they show the whole process? You know, I don't know what the show is called. And she was terminated. Her show was pulled down from all the streaming platforms, Home and Garden TV, totally canceled this woman. And so I had to search the internet to see the context in which she used the N-word. And I know, people are not supposed to say the N-word, especially white people, but the context of how she said it, it was so ridiculous. It wasn't even aimed at a black person. Let me see. Let me try and find this lady, because I want you guys to hear it, but don't play it now. Don't play it at work. Here we go. Let's see here she is. Nicole Curtis apologizes after video shows her using the N-word. So she was like fixing something in one of these houses that she was rehabbing for the show. And I don't know if you guys have ever done anything like mechanical or doing anything where you have to like hammer and nail, and you mess up sometimes and you might just utter a profanity. I know I utter profanity sometimes. I'm my most racist when I'm driving. When people are driving stupid, I almost got in an accident yesterday because somebody, not only did they run the red light, the light had been green for like 3 seconds. 2 cars ahead of me had already proceeded through the intersection. I'm the third car, and the person ran the light after it had been green long enough for 2 people to proceed through that intersection. Boy, I had a flurry of racial slurs for them, and I don't even know the race of the person. So this Nicole Curtis lady, who I am not defending, I don't know who she is. I don't watch her reality show on Home and Garden TV, but there was a clip of her that one of her staff recorded using the N-word. And then she immediately was like, oh, snap, can you edit that? Can you delete that? And the staff person didn't. And they uploaded it to the internet. He put it on YouTube. It was taken off of YouTube, but not before other commenters and podcasters and streamers captured it. And I don't think that, this is me personally now, I know some of y'all may disagree, but she was hammering something and she like hit her thumb. You want to turn into a racist? Hit your thumb with a hammer and anybody will become a racist. Because it hurts, and sometimes racial slurs are really convenient when you're in pain. I know you're not supposed to use those, but when it's one of those moments like that, and someone will say, oh, she probably uses the word all the time. All white people do. Here, watch this. Hey, white people. N-word. They just said it in their head. It's the same thing. Whenever you say, oh, they use the N-word, you pronounce the word in your head, so you're technically saying it. Now, she happened to, but she said a word in front of the N-word, which negated the sting of the N-word. Now, she did use the hard ER ending, and I know we definitely don't like that. Isn't it weird how, like, we use slang all the time, but when it comes to the enunciation of that ER suffix on the N-word, oh, that makes all the difference. But she used the N-word, and you're not supposed to use it, and it's not like it was on a live broadcast or anything. And they totally canceled her. They fired her. I don't think that she was malicious in doing it, but of course, Home and Garden TV had to come out with a statement. This does not match our standards for our hosts and our programming, and we have a culture of inclusion here at Home and Garden TV and blah, blah, blah. You know the statements that they're lawyers, right? I just don't think the woman should have lost her livelihood because there's so many bigger things that we need to worry about. Like what's happening right now with the leaders of this nation being involved in some of the most disgusting and egregious crimes against children. And y'all still going after a white lady who said, here's what she said, X. She's nailing something and she says, oh, fart N-word. What does that even mean? It's just so stupid. And she said it real quick. And she was like, uh-oh.
That's not a normal thing to come to your mind.
It is not. So it was just a bunch of mumbo jumbo that was probably circling around her head. And again, if you don't think that you're a racist, get a hammer and you got to hold the nail, right? You got to hold it and hit your thumb and you'll become a racist too. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.
Need a way to hype up your day?
Hello, is this Shirley?
This is she.
Shirley, you are our Gruber 5K giveaway winner this quarter. Congratulations.
What would you do with $5,000?
Going to look at buying me a pickup truck. That will be some of my down payment.
Stay tuned into 1017 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
I love you guys.
On Sunday afternoon, the Milwaukee